ultimate purpose is not survival. It's finding purpose in what you love. I'm pumped to be branching out and being like, hey, we're going to sit down and have a couple-hour podcast. Is it?
Is it, dude?
Jesus Christ.
We just like talked for 5 minutes. I'm like, is it though? I've always been inspired by this shit.
Dude, that pizza was so greasy.
It was disgusting.
It was not disgusting.
Disgusting. Good Times Noodle Salad.
All right. Yeah, and we're going. That's it.
Really?
That's how easy it is. I like the in-ears, honestly. Like I'm now you got me really thinking about it, because like we all wear like the podcast
But
uniform.
that looks so impressive. You look like you know what you're doing.
I mean, I've been faking it for years, so I'm pretty good about it. But, dude, okay, so is this like? Are you coming on as Sweet Crystal, or should I be interviewing Marq?
You could do either way.
Either way.
Yeah, because Sweet Crystal is me. I started the band. Now it's 52 years ago.
I was just doing some research on you, and I found out that you've had a 50-year career. I was like, what? That's crazy.
We're this close to knowing what we're doing.
50 years, like to start a group. And I assume you were in high school.
Yes, right out of high school.
Right out of high school.
1974.
1974. So like, it's like I'm a drummer, which means I'm not a musician.
No.
You jerk.
But as a matter of fact, the only musician I really need is a drummer.
Oh, right on.
Because my sense of rhythm is very white, and so I need a drummer. So I totally appreciate people that can play.
Right on. But it's like a stereotype in the music world that like if you make it outside of a year, you're doing pretty good with a band, and if you make it 2, you're killing it, and if you make it 5, you're probably gonna go forever. But like I mean, I've been in 100 different bands, and I think they all went like, I mean, not really.
He's
I'm being
exaggerating.
exaggerated, but
Yeah.
like in all honesty, it's probably been like 6 or 7 bands.
Sure.
And each one of them is probably around a year or 2.
Ooh, and what was the common denominator there? Oh, it was him. Sorry.
Ooh,
I didn't want to bring that
there's
up.
too much reality
too much truth there.
There's too much reality there. All my ex-girlfriends just went, see?
Oh, you're going, yeah, but look at me now.
Right.
Look who I'm with.
You win.
Right. Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, no, I mean, a 50-year career, though, is crazy. It's awesome.
Is it all the same?
The three of us that started the band are still together. It's myself on keyboards and lead vocals. Bill Blatter is our guitar player. Steve Weezer is the drummer. And we've been through 13 bass players.
Oh my gosh.
But
It's always the bass player.
I have made this joke in probably 20 of our episodes. But bass players, it's either black or white. You either have the most insanely talented musician you'll ever meet in your life, or you meet a lazy guitar player who's like, I'll just do 4 strings.
and if they're not in tune, who's going to know? It's bass.
Right.
Oh, gosh. Well, we're very lucky. Marty Kukar, our current bass player, has been with us now 7 years. So I think that we've passed the spinal tap combustion limit, and it's a really close-knit bunch of guys. We adore each other. We get together every week, regardless if we have gigs or anything to do, just to keep rehearsing. And I think that's how the longevity has come about, is because we appreciate who we are. We really love each other. And being a Christian band, we just have a similar fellowship. We feel Sweet Crystal is a mission, a ministry, as well as just being a band. So we're very, very blessed to still be together doing what we want to do.
It's awesome.
And so there's no reason. We're not doing it for fame or fortune. We're just doing it because of our love for, first off, the Lord, but the music that we have. We're comrades in that, and it's pretty cool. I think it's very unique, especially at the local level. You know, there are some major acts that have been around that long, but you know, they have the fame and the finances to keep them going and keep them at that level. I think finding a local band such as us, who have been in Detroit since the 70s, and we're still here. And we still like what we're doing, and we still get gigs, and people know who we are. And if you don't like the band, then you don't go see the band. But if you like us, then we're still here doing what I think God wants us to be doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. having a band is like having it's like having a second family, or like, you know.
That's
or
why
like
we don't have kids. I've always said that. I said, we have a band.
Yeah.
We don't need any more
Yeah, I mean,
youngsters.
it's like you have to maintain these intimate relationships that where they're working relationships, but they're also friendships.
Yeah.
And it's so I mean, it can be so difficult. Like, you know, how do you guys structure your writing? Like, is there a spearhead, like is there a chef for the cooks?
I
Yeah.
like that, chef.
That's nice. Yeah, I would say I am the one who comes up with the majority of the songs, the arrangement, the idea what I want to do. But that being said, I hand it over to the guitar player to come up with the better licks, the more dynamics in the tune. I'm really good at structuring and chord progressions. I never tell Steve, the drummer, what to play because that's his kingdom.
Yeah.
And the bass is the bass. It's either going to fit in or it's not. And you can tell if it's right or wrong. And so far, Marty's been right pretty much all along. But I do spearhead everything. And because I'm the lead vocalist, I write songs that I can sing. And that was a struggle back in the younger days. I found out I had a hole in one of my vocal cords. And we kept playing. We were doing the bar scene back then, 5 sets a night, 7 nights a week. Made a living at it. We had 6.5 tons of gear, 4-man road crew, and that's who we were. That's what we did through the 70s into the 80s. But I was having more and more problems with my voice. And when I met Jan, and we went to a doctor, and he said, you got a hole in there. Apparently you've had it since you were born, and they called it a congenital cyst. And back then, this was late 70s, 78, 79. And they said, we have new laser technology where we can go in and sculpt a new edge to your vocal cord. And I said, that's great,
Interesting.
because I would lose my voice a lot. But it also turned out I'm allergic to smoke. And
still being in the
I
bar.
would play in bars.
Yeah.
Back then, you could smoke in the bars. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was happening. But so we went in, we had the surgery, we hired a vocalist to keep the gigs going while I was recouping. But 6 weeks into it, I still couldn't talk. I couldn't do much of anything. And we went back to have him look at it, and he said it was great. There's hardly any scar tissue. Everything was looking good. And I said, well, I'm having a real problem singing. And he goes, what do you mean sing? I said, well, I told you I was the lead singer. He goes, I thought you were the leader of a band. He was an older guy, and he goes, I thought you were a band leader. I said, he goes, I never would have done that surgery if I knew you needed your voice or something like that.
Oh man.
And that was devastating. And it was
scary.
It was really at that point in our lives where we just went home, and we just dropped to our knees, and I had to give over to God. And I said, I don't understand. I had just become a new Christian. I go, what just happened here? And long story short, it took another year to get my voice back, and I won a vocal thing out of Nashville for Kentucky Fried Chicken. And now I'm actually my throat is in some medical books because there is no scar. There is nothing. It's totally closed up. It came back to exactly like it should have been.
Yeah.
But the one thing it taught me was to stop singing Queen and Aerosmith and all this stuff that was hard. I lost some range, and my voice got thicker sounding. But then we also realized, well, if we're going to do what we're doing for the kingdom, I have to stop singing, have a drink on me, and find other ways to express who we were doing. So it was interesting. That was God's way of pushing me where I had to go.
So you said that you were a new Christian at the time when you had the surgery,
Yes.
but that was about 10 years into your career in this band.
Right around, I met Jan in 78.
So we'd been married a couple of years.
Yeah, so that's right, because we got married in 80. It was meeting her that turned me into a Christian. She didn't turn me into it, but it was because of her love for me and giving me over to God and the things that got me there. So it was like 81, 82. So yeah,
Okay.
that's almost 10 years into it.
And so in that vein, does that change the trajectory of what you guys are trying to do as musicians? I mean, because in the 70s, it's all about sex, drugs, rock
Yes.
and roll, you being
We
these,
were in that
cool,
lifestyle.
reckless dudes.
Yeah, we were in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
It did change the directory because I realized with all good conscience, I couldn't stand up on stage anymore and tell people, last call, make sure you get your drinks in and stuff like that. And we said, we just can't do this anymore because I think if we want to profess being a Christian band, we can't kill people with our testimony. Although playing in bars is exactly where I think God wanted us, because there's nobody going there talking about this. And I don't condemn anybody for drinking or anything they do.
I'm
because-
drunk right now.
Yeah, we've been through that.
Good. That's a cute.
For me, it's the Holy Spirit.
Good one. So are we. No, not really.
But it's just interesting. And yeah, so when I changed my life around, I told the guys about it. I said, you know what, I'm really going to change the direction of my writing and what we're doing. Some of the guys left, but Steve and Bill, God bless them, said, that sounds great. Let's just keep doing it. And we've been together.
Were those guys already practicing Christians?
Yes, yeah.
They were.
Most of us were Lutheran. Steve was a Catholic, and we didn't hold it against him.
She grew up.
Yeah,
She grew up
I'm Lutheran.
Lutheran, and I'm Lebanese and Irish, so I grew up Catholic. So
Baptist over here. We're good.
So I always make I'll go to her family's Lutheran church for holiday stuff or whatever, and I'm like, this is Catholic light. Like,
That's
look
exactly
at you guys
it.
pretending.
The
to be
difference is
Catholics.
wine or beer. Lutherans are beer.
Literally, her pastor was talking about how he closed the bar with his buddies the night before, before he's doing his sermon. I was
We're forgiven.
what is this?
We're forgiven. We're not perfect, that's for sure. But so it was just interesting and this is where we've been now for 40 years into this.
Do you think that change into lean into your religion as a threesome at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Did that help focus you guys on the music more?
I think what it did is it helped focus on the lyric content of what we were doing,
Okay.
because that's what changed the music. If you go back through our whole discography, you can hear Sweet Crystal in everything we did. We got better, of course, at what we're doing, because we got better as we got older, and the technology allowed us to record better. But the lyric content, you could see the progression. And we've never been the kind of band that goes out and preaches to people. We don't say, we don't come out and say, Jesus saved, if you don't believe, you're going to hell. No, our songs are all about.
That would be her band. As a band.
Yeah, that's my job. Right.
So we open for her quite a bit. So what we've discovered is we just tell stories of things that we've struggled with. And at the end of almost every Sweet Crystal song, if there's a problem that's put out there, there's the solution at the end, the light at the end of the tunnel. And that's kind of how we feel about all of our performances. We don't preach. We just go out and sing our songs, and it usually opens the door to some good conversations if you're wondering if we're a Christian band. But it's really all about you leaving a Sweet Crystal performance feeling better about having listened to what we sing about. And so it's been successful for us for 50-some years now.
Yeah, I mean, 50 years is crazy. It's awesome.
It is.
It's unheard of. You're probably the only band in Detroit that.
And I see some bands
Has
that come
had a
back
50
together. I mean,
Yeah.
we'll see like Halloween will come back together, and they were there when we first started, and it's fun to see them come out. We haven't been here in a long time, and we've just been sitting there going, "Well, we've been here the whole time."
The whole time. Yeah,
Come on in.
50 years consistently, right? I mean,
Yes.
was there ever any lulls other than the
only
surgery?
time, the only time it was a lull was when DJs and disco came into the scene, late 80s into the 90s, and there were no places for original bands to play. And it really slowed down. So we stopped playing as much as we were and built a studio, but we kept recording. And we started doing music for cable TV shows, commercials, low-budget films, and that kept us going. And that was about a 10-year span where we released a couple of CDs. And then at the turn of the century, which sounds funny, we got asked by a Vietnam vet who had remembered us from the 70s, and he was starting something called a Vet Fest. The first one was in Pontiac, and he wanted to do a yearly concert for vets. And he asked if would we be interested in coming back out, because he knew a lot of people that remembered us. So we said we should try this. So we put the live show back together. We finished a whole bunch of tracks that we just had sitting around, and we came back out, and we just kept playing from that point on. Yeah. And that's when we started getting more notice and recognition. And that's when we won our 26 Detroit Music Awards over the space of a 10-year span. And it's very interesting to us at this point in our life, because we're 30 years older going, what are we doing? Yeah. We're going to play again tonight. What time do we get on?
It's I guess what I was going to ask you, I'm wondering about is, so I grew up in a Catholic originally, and then we moved over to Christian church, non-denominational.
Sure.
church up in New Baltimore. I was an East Sider growing
yeah.
up, and there was like a tour of these groups that the church would bring in like annually or semi-annually.
Okay.
And do you guys do? I was wondering, do you gig at these churches, or do you gig?
We do churches. We do
venues.
You know what we really like doing are benefits for Wounded Warrior Project, for Vet Fest, that type of thing. That's really what keeps us going. Is we really have a heart for the men and women of the armed forces, for their families. So that has really kept us going a lot. But no, we play. I'm playing tomorrow night at the Token Lounge.
Oh, nice.
You know, with one of I have 7 projects besides Sweet Crystal. So
You're a workaholic,
yeah.
eh?
So tomorrow is Mars Radio for an no-kill animal shelter in Taylor. But we play, the Diesel all the time out there.
Mm-hmm.
So
The No Kill Animal Shelter. Who else is on that lineup? I feel like I heard about
Sins of a Madman, the Ozzy tribute band, Mars Radio, somebody called the Larrys, and something else I can't remember.
Okay.
The 4th band, but
What was the band that was talking about doing the charity for the No Kill Animal Shelter? That wasn't Forge the Sun?
No.
we've played with them there.
Yeah, they're cool. I love those guys. I think we've met a handful of. I mean, we've met a lot of musicians on doing this podcast. I think if anybody locally is going to pop and be national band, it's going to be Forge the Sun. I mean, they're killer.
Yeah.
And that she is a murderer. She is such a good vocalist. It's insane. And she has these. She's leaning into they're going a little more metal now, and she has this screaming voice that is just crazy. Dude, she's so talented. I'm like genuinely excited for Forge the Sun.
Nice.
And they're on a lineup with Papa Roach and Poppy and Ginger and like Gojira, like all these huge metal bands. I'm like they're playing. Oh God, what is that? What is that fest called, lady?
There's one like up in mid-Michigan that's coming up.
Yeah, that metal one. Oh my God, why am I drawing a blank?
I can look it up if you give
It's
me
okay.
a second.
It's Jamie, pull that up. Yeah, but anyway, are you guys doing a tour like that? So, okay, I had such a hard time figuring out how I wanted to word that question earlier.
Sure.
As a member of the church when I was a kid, I always wondered, like, these people come here around this Upheaval Fest. Thank you.
Okay.
Sure. As a kid, I remember thinking, like, they come here roughly the same time of year every year, so they must be on a tour. Is there some kind of organization that can help you tour with
Not
local
that I'm aware
churches?
of. Not that I'm aware of. Most of the gigs we have are either by word of mouth or if I see an opportunity. I'm pretty aggressive at contacting places and churches and what's nice about Sweet Crystal is we can do the full Sweet Crystal production with all of us and full sounds, lights, that kind of stuff. But we also have something called Sweet Crystal Light, which I'm doing next weekend with just myself and my guitar player, where it's the same songs, but it's scaled down to do more, not acoustic, but just not the full band.
Right on.
I also do my solo, but never alone, where it's just me. And Jan and I can go anywhere and do any kind of gig we want, which is fun. So I can still go out and promote the music and who we are when the guys can't make it.
Yeah.
Because some of the guys don't want to travel and go back on the road. But
Sure.
But we can, which is really nice. God's given us a lot of blessings. So we'll be going down to Nashville in September again. We were there last year. I'm hoping to actually pick up one of these ISA awards, International Singer-Songwriter Association. I'm up for 2 categories for the first time ever, and that's in Atlanta in August. So I'm hoping that I make it through the nomination process, at least to go down and do that.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting maybe, but the band is very cool about letting me pick and choose where we're going to play and what we're going to play for. And we usually do 4 or 5 outdoor shows during the summer. We do one every year up in Port Huron over Labor Day weekend, which is really nice, a Bridge Fest. And there's one this summer in Mount Clemens called WERTZ, WERTZ Warriors, and it's for autistic and severely handicapped kids. And Special Olympics.
Sounds like one we got to go to.
Yeah, and that's on a Sunday. It's like June 20th maybe, but we're opening. And we like opening because, one, we get in and get out if it's not cool. But we like opening because we set the bar high. And a lot of people don't want to be the first band because not everybody's there yet, and everybody just kind of go, I don't want to start because nobody's there. But we love it.
And you also like to start with
With the Star Spangled Banner,
Right.
we've got a pretty crystallized version of that, so we just start with that, and everybody just kind of goes, okay.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a good one. And so those are the kind of things we like doing. I love the Token. I've known John Anton, the owner, since he bought it. And we played there 10 years before he bought it, you know.
That name keeps. I haven't been to the Token Lounge yet,
It's
but
nice.
but
It's really
I keep
great.
hearing that name keeps circling around here, and it
He's-
seems like one of the last places.
He's
that are
one of
like-
the
It's
few.
been around for a while.
He's
for a long
only-
time.
Oh,
70s,
yeah,
yeah.
70s.
Yeah.
So we played there when it was a little hole in the wall, and now he's bought pretty much the whole building there. So he's got really nice green rooms for national touring acts, and he's one of the few people that are paying for national acts almost on a weekly basis. So he really does support the industry, and he bought the manor behind it called Joy Manor, which is kind of like a place you do weddings and that kind of stuff. But then he has people over there like Rare Earth and stuff that play over there.
Right,
So
that's great.
He's very, but he spends half his time in Mexico too because he's got a great place down in Acapulco. So he's always going, hey, I'm down here again. Just gonna go. But he's a great guy, and it's a fun venue. It's loud, but it's fun. You know?
Yeah, you were saying earlier that you were having a hard time finding places that were going to allow original bands to play back
During
in the
that one,
90s and
yeah,
2000s.
during that section, it was tough.
Yeah, that is a theme with all the bands that we've interviewed. Is there's like a handful of places that want original music, and then the rest of them are like play the top 40 from the riff or whatever.
Or you're a tribute band,
Or a
which
tribute.
is fine because the tribute bands are good at what they do, but that's it. That's
I guess
you know.
I'd rather go to karaoke and hear more than one band.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Like I'm like as a lifelong musician, I'm happy to see anyone being able to go out and play music, but also, like, if we want to hear the same songs, just put on the riff. They've played the same 25 songs for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like,
It's a tribute radio
there's
station.
there's
There you go.
there's so much
Right.
original music being made, and then all these venues are like, yeah, but I want you to show up and play Nirvana or whatever crap that's 30, 40, 50
And what's
years
tough
old.
about being an original band and these venues, which are fun to play at, they usually want 4 or 5 bands on a bill, and that is hard.
Yeah.
That is tough on the body. That's tough on
But
gear.
you've got wheels.
Yeah, all my gear. If you ever seen I have tons of keyboards. I have all sorts of rigs, and they're all on wheels. So
Smart.
I can set up off stage, and it's our turn. It comes on, you plug it into the PA. Done. I unplug it. Dennis, my tech, and I just roll it out of the way.
Yeah.
And so I'm
awesome.
and everywhere we've played that, I've never seen that before. The sound people or the stage manager comes up, and they all look at it and go, "Oh, we got to do that."
Yeah.
I said it makes a world of difference.
Yeah.
man.
I saw just on Facebook, screwing around. I saw a guy had a rolling like gear case that had his entire drum set in it.
I saw that
completely
too.
set
Yes,
up.
I
Did
saw
you?
that too.
I never saw that before. I'm like, that was the biggest pain, was having a drum set, dragging the bass drum out of my back seat, just like chipping it and stuff, like trying to get it out of there, and then like hurry up and put my cymbals on, and then I got some guy yelling at me, "Don't take your cymbals apart, just get off, go."
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And you're like,
right.
it's like a
That's tough.
It's like a 2-minute panic attack. You're
Oh,
like,
it is.
There's 15 minutes between me and the next guy. I got time.
And
Let
you're-
everyone go get another drink.
What's really hard too for drummers is drummers don't seem to like to play on other drummers' kits because
I'm left-handed.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
double
That's it.
down.
Oh, yeah. There you
Double
go.
down.
Yeah. Well, you're not even getting booked.
I'm a lefty too, though, so all right.
But that's what's hard, and I get it because drums are physical.
Yeah.
A keyboard's a keyboard. I mean, that's all it is. Guitars are guitars. An amp, and I realize, pedals and stuff are important to a tone, but an amp is an amp.
Yeah.
And so you can play through anything. Drums, though, are physical. So, your snare needs to be over here and your tom over here, and you get up there and it's the other way. What are you going to do?
Right. Right.
So I get it, and that's a tough one. The drums are at the Token are very cool because they have a system where the next guy is here, the drum riser is here, and offload here. So this guy comes off while this guy's coming on.
Oh,
They've
perfect.
got it set. So
Oh, that's cool.
because we only have 15 to 20 minutes between the acts. So
Yeah.
the drums are the main thing that get moved around. You just backline everything else.
Yeah.
And my stuff just rolls on, and it's got a ramp over here. So Dennis, I just go, no. Well, I said, roll down and go, try to catch it before it hits the outside door, would you?
So, were you raised in a Christian household?
Nah. Well, my parents were Lutheran, and when I was real young, we went to church. But then my dad, with his job, kept getting transferred to different cities, and
Okay.
it just kind of fell away. So even though I know who God was and I know He was watching over me, that was not a concern for me.
And you were in the
whatsoever.
children's choir, and your first
When
song
I was,
was
Jesus loves me. This I know. When I was
Oh.
5 years old, so at one point that's where it started. But got to high school, and like you said, it was the late '60s and the '70s, and it was a whole different scene. I went to University of Michigan, had a scholarship to that, and that was a whole different thing. I was going into the School of Pharmacy, which was not going to lead me anywhere well. And lucky for me, I decided just to get into music, and I, got out of college.
Thank God you stayed there, though, in the same area.
Yeah, that's right, because that's where we met. It's that whole area. But God had a bigger plan for me, despite my endeavors to hurt myself. He didn't. He didn't allow it, and here I am, decades later. And I think all those experiences allow me to talk to people on a more physical plane. It's not all spiritual when you talk to me. It's not all just, this is Jesus, this is the Holy Spirit, this is God, this is what's important, which it is. But I can talk to people about, drug addictions and alcoholism and life and death situations and how you get through it. And I don't judge anybody because, God doesn't judge me anymore. So it's interesting that He's put me in this position at this age that I'm in to be able to talk with a wide variety of people and a lot of younger bands. Because I hate to say it, we're probably the elder statesmen on any stage we get on. But you can't tell by watching me play. You can tell by watching me walk with this cane at the moment. But for some reason, the adrenaline kicks in and my knee works fine on stage.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like there's always kind of some kind of I don't know, trauma or addiction or something that will help push people that are not religious into that vein. So I guess that's why I'm asking,
and
because especially if people that find it as adults.
The word religion is kind of a misnomer too, because religion was created by man, and that's where a lot of division comes in. What Catholics believe, what Lutherans believe, what every denomination believes. They have their own spin on what they think God is saying to them, and that's religion is hard. I'm a Christian. I'm not really religious, except that we have our own Bible study every morning and stuff, and that keeps us going. We spend 5 to 10, 15 minutes reading the Bible and praying for stuff for the day, and then you get on with the day, and hopefully God's with you the whole time.
We talk about God all the time throughout our daily.
You have to keep
interaction,
reminding
just
each
constant.
other. When something's going on, you go, well, we're just being attacked, and trying to figure like this thing with my knee, which just came on 6-7 weeks ago.
Because he broke his toe. I was sitting there when I watched him get up and run into something.
Busted
and I heard
my
a
big
crack.
toe, and then I started walking funny because I went to the foot doctor, and I started walking funny. Well, I don't have any cartilage or meniscus in this knee, and it's been that way for a long time. I've been able to deal with it. But because I started walking awkwardly,
Because of your toe?
it threw it out of whack, and the kneecap actually started floating and catching on the bones. And it was like a electric shock. It would knock me to the ground. That's why I have a cane on every flight of stairs in our house. So I'm working with getting it back into shape. But that was just an attack on me because I said, how am I going to play? I have gigs coming up and stuff, and I can't even walk upstairs, So it's interesting, but thanks to my keyboard tech, Dennis, who watches me like a hawk, he counts how many times I go down underneath the keyboard. He says, after 3, I'm going to come out there and pick you up because that's too many for your knee. But when I play it doesn't bother me. But afterwards, it's pretty painful and just walking around. I'm very tentative now. I walk like my age, and I don't like that. I like thinking I'm much younger than I am.
I had a meniscus tear.
Yeah.
It was brutal. A meniscus tear by itself, I've talked to a few people that have had them now, and the meniscus tear by itself isn't that bad, but what sucked for me is that my meniscus tore in half like a hamburger bun, and the bottom half of it flipped between my MCL and my bone.
Okay.
So I just had constant pressure on my MCL for like a year and a half.
They just kept saying overuse injury. It's an
Yeah.
overuse
So
injury.
was it from playing?
No.
Okay.
It was from, well, I think it's a combination of things. Like I was jogging, so I was running this like 3.5 mile route every day, which was fine. But I went out for a run. I really don't know like where it happened because there was no like, there was no moment. There was no like pop. There was no I stepped in a hole. There was nothing like where I fell or anything like that. I went out for a run. I got to her apartment when we first started dating, and I was like, I'm gonna go for a run real quick before dinner. And so I went out for a run. And I just got like a mile in, and I was like, I can't do it. God, and then I get to like, I had this favorite part of this route. There's this, what is that island called? Bellevue Island in Lake Orion. There's this section, so I'd run the whole island like 3 times and then run back. And so the section of the island, it was like my treat during the run. There's this street called Long Point, so it's like a 1/4 mile long street that's right along the water, and there's like these maybe 7 houses or something, but you're right over the water the whole time, so like most of your view is the lake. Nice. So I'd run to the end, run back, and then the way I framed it in my mind is like, all right, I have to pay for it now. Like I have to pay for that view now because now there's a steep hill. So I have to now I have to earn what I just enjoyed. So you run up this steep hill, and when I got to that point, I was like, I can't do it. I'm like, what is going on? I get back to her. I shower, and I'm like, dude, I had this swell on my knee. It just like felt wonky. I'm like, what is going on with me? And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And like I'm a pipe fitter, so I would like knee up bingo.
Oh,
There's the bingo card. I said pipe
go.
fitter. She's gonna
I
start.
tally
chatting.
every time he says he's a pipe fitter during the
love
podcast.
Is that right?
Because
So
he
what are
says
we
it.
up to?
It's only one
That's
so
the
far.
first one. I haven't sworn once. Have you noticed that?
I noticed that.
I'm gonna have to go outside
We
and
watched your podcast, and I say, well, we just need to let him know it's for uplifting Christ's kingdom. Every time he says that,
what it stands
that's
for.
what's in our head, for uplifting Christ's kingdom. I go, all right, I got
That's
it.
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's how we cope, It's just like,
I got a bunch out of my system while you guys were in the bathroom.
oh my gosh, that's great.
God, I completely forgot what I was saying. Oh, so like so my knee got like I kneeled at work. And I couldn't get up.
What were you
And what was
working?
your work?
What was your work at?
What do you do?
So I'm a pipe fitter, and I kneeled and I couldn't get up, and I was like, "What is going on?" And then it finally popped, and I was like, "Oh God!" Like, okay, I can walk again, And like 4 or 5 different appointments at different walk-in clinics. And my primary care doctor, a walk-in ortho, all of them said, "Oh, it's an overuse injury, rest, compression, elevation, ice." And I'm like, "Dude, this has been like 7-8 months now. I've been paying all day, every day." And I go to a walk-in ortho, and he's like, "Oh, put a compression sleeve on, and let's see how you do." And that was so much worse. I was like almost in tears walking up and down stairs. And so I took that off, and my knee just went and swelled up. And then I went to a random crappy walk-in orthopedic surgeon office, and he was like, he did a mechanical test that none of the other doctors had done yet, which was he put my heel to my ass. There we go. 1. Do a tally. They put me on my back and put my heel to my ass, and then pushed on my shin, and my leg went like that. And he was like, "Oh, you have a meniscus. You have a." He thought it was an MCL.
Okay.
Because my joint moved. I'm not a doctor. I don't have a lab coat on, but whatever he did, he was like, "That's not normal. So we need to get an MRI." And I was like, "Finally," and. Whatever, a couple of months later, got the surgery. The surgery was like 20 minutes
really?
or something, and then the recovery was like 3 weeks. I'm like, I've been in severe pain for like a year and a half.
So lucky. I can't have the surgery. He told me mine was so shredded there was nothing to fix, and I'm just walking bone on bone. So
His was bad too. I don't think they repaired it. They just cut it out.
They just removed the bottom half. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's tough. For me, I get something called a Durolane shot, and it's a substance that goes in there and makes an artificial cushion that lasts almost 6 months. And I've had that for a couple years now, and it's done its job. But then when I broke the toe and I started walking on it weird, and I went in and I was in such pain, they gave me a cortisone shot, and he said, we don't want to do the Durolane and the cortisone at the same time. So we put off the Durolane, and I think that was a mistake, because then it got to the point where I couldn't walk at all. I said, what? And she saw me once where I came around the corner and my leg and started going like this. It bent sideways.
Oh.
And I just grabbed the railing and just went. She goes, I just saw that. I go, that's what I'm talking about. This leg is doing something really stupid. And it was so painful that my ear would ring. It would go, ping.
Oh, man.
I was trying to, what the heck, man?
After the surgery, I tell you what, it's significantly better than it was, but it's not normal.
Really?
Yeah, like I squatted down to.
Does it hurt your drumming?
I don't drum enough to notice.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
I don't. No, the only thing I miss, like I skateboard and run, and I miss both of those.
Wow.
Like really bad. Like I haven't got back into running yet. Like I tried, and it was too early, and so now it's been like, I don't know, maybe a year or something since the surgery.
Shoot.
At least.
At least a year? About a year and a half.
Longer.
Yeah, a
we
year and a half.
still lived in
'cause-
Holly.
Yeah, it's been a year and
Isn't
a
it
half.
something how fast time flies?
Dude, it's crazy.
This
Yeah.
year's already 1/3 gone. You
Yeah.
know, 2026, it's just like,
crazy.
it's May.
Yeah.
You know, 2 more months, it's this halfway, we're already heading to winter again. And going,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. right. Oh, man, it's. Yeah, we have 3 kids, and like
You do?
all these. Yeah,
It's wonderful.
yeah, 13.
You still
8,
like
and
each other?
7.
I didn't birth them.
Yeah, she's stepmom,
I'm stepmom.
but she. Yeah, but
So you can still like them.
Yeah, right.
but I tell you what, man, these kids. I've said this before, but I feel like being a parent is like you have like constant grief of like what stage your kid used to be in, you know, like there's these stages where like the kids, I don't know, like my son used to say peach black outside. Oh, it's peach black outside.
Nice.
Or like, you know, what did he used to say? Yesternight, Dad, yesternight. Do you remember when we were watching that movie? I'm like,
So
that's
sweet.
that's not right, but it is right, you know.
Yeah.
And like, but like all these little like they have these seasons of saying things or doing
how
certain
cute.
things. You know what I mean? And then, I mean, you're in it every day with them. Like you're feeding them, you're doing the school stuff, you're doing the sports stuff, and then like you look back, you're like, oh my god, like a year and a half, 2 years has gone by, and then you're like, I forgot that he used to say that. I forgot that he used to do that. I forgot that she used to sound like that. You know, and that's. You want to talk about like time flying by. It's like I have a kid in middle school, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm barely outside.
You guys
of
don't
middle
look
school.
older than 20, so I don't know how that's possible.
I'm 32, and I've got a kid in middle school. But thank you, by the way.
Oh, you're
I'll
welcome.
show you my hairline later.
What do you do for a living, though?
She's gonna keep it going.
Come on. I want to know. So I'm a pipe
I'm a pipe fitter.
Okay. Oh, you said it too, so that's true.
He says it the same way every time too. He'll be telling a story and he'll go, "So I'm a pipe fitter."
Because it's always in the context of like what's coming next. You know, it's always like, okay.
We didn't know though, so
No.
you got to tell us if we forget.
Well, if you forget, I am a pipe fitter. Yeah.
You're right. He does say it the same way. Well, I think it's sweet that you notice the difference in your kids and the changes. A lot of parents don't appreciate that. It's very, very loving.
You have to pay attention to that stuff because it's fickle. It just goes. It disappears. You're trying to catch a
like the
a
7-year-old.
cloud. It's just it's if you don't appreciate what they're doing and how they're doing it when they're doing it, it's gonna be gone before you notice. And then you know what I mean. It's hard.
The youngest one still puts on like Spider-Man costumes every once in a while. He'll just come out in them. So every time he does, I'm like, yes, keep doing that because that's.
Are you keeping a tally?
Yeah, like, every time
Me
he
too.
I thought you were talking about Matt.
Well, she was, but she changed it to
You don't want to see the
7-year-old.
costumes I put on for her.
That's so funny.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Well, you sound like you're a good parent.
I try to be.
Absolutely.
I try to be. Yeah.
And that you appreciate, being the stepmom.
Yeah.
That's
That's so
very
sweet.
cool.
Yeah.
Very sweet.
Yeah, you have to be. I tell you, I've made this joke a million times, but nothing makes a good dad like a shitty one. So
That's interesting.
What does that mean? I don't get it.
when you realize where the shortcomings were,
Oh.
where you were left behind, where you were
Where
your
your
not
parent
happy
wasn't
with,
good
yeah,
to you?
We were blessed. We both had great parents.
Yeah.
I still have my
Yes.
mom, and that's the only parent of ours that we still have. But both hers and mine were just outstanding people.
That's very lucky, yeah.
I think that's why, next Sunday is our 46th wedding
Wow.
anniversary.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
forgot.
So
Congrats.
that's coming
Yeah.
up, and
This
that's because
morning.
we had good role models growing up.
Yes,
My
we
mom's
did.
she's 94, 95. She lives by herself
Wow.
in Maine. My sister lives next door in her house. But, she's still up and about and being her.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
And
interesting.
95 is that's awesome.
Yeah, my parents just celebrated their 40th last year.
Youngins.
Okay, so like we're your grandparents' age.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Rub
all
it
right,
in.
though.
Rub it
That's
in.
all right.
We still like it.
But you mentioned something earlier. You said about you wondered about maybe there's an addiction or something, and I think what it is, I think it's the human condition. Like you said, being a parent, the SHI, It reminds me, my sister and I would drive in the car with my parents, and I'd say SH, and she'd say IT.
We didn't say it.
We didn't say. Oh, I love it.
spelled
Yeah,
it.
but I think that's with everybody. I think that's what brings you to God is the human condition. We all feel we get to a point, whether or not it's an addiction, but it's the mental process of just being a human and living in this world. You get so lost sometimes that God's the only answer, and you cry out. I mean, that's why the suicide rate is so high, and people think about it. Very few people haven't thought about suicide in their lives. And if you're one of the ones that hasn't, then you're in the minority. And so that's really the reason why we go to God, because it doesn't have to be an addiction, which it can be, or a horrible sin or a crime that you feel is much worse than anybody else. But everybody is the same under God. No sin is worse. All sin is the same.
Don't pound this because
Thank you.
through
I want him to say what
Hey.
he does for a living. That's your cue.
that. Sounds like a pipe needs fitting.
I was hoping he'd say, I'm a pipe fitter. What can I do?
Hey, we have a caller on line one. He's a pipe fitter too.
I'll fight you.
I'll fight you. Is that what you said?
To the pipe fitter. To the pipe fitter.
Oh, you said it twice.
They sure did.
Yeah. The,
What started this? And it's noodle
Yeah.
salad, right?
yeah.
Good Times Noodle
Noodle
Salad.
Salad. Yeah.
What a great name.
Yeah.
I love
What's
the
the story
noodle.
for that?
So okay,
Yeah.
so have you ever seen the movie As Good as It Gets?
Yes.
Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
So there's a scene where Helen Hunt, Jack Nicholson, and Greg, whatever Kinane or whatever
Yeah,
that
Kinnear,
actor,
yep.
they're in the car, and Jack Nicholson goes on this rant. He's like, so many people have these stories, these wonderful stories about going to the beach and hanging with their families, and that's their whole life. It's good times and noodle salad. Just nobody in this car. And then Helen Hunt and Greg turn to him and he's like, not at all, or whatever, and they like brush him off. So like
times
that's
and
where it
noodle
came
salad.
from. Yeah.
That's interesting that you'd pick up on that.
Yeah.
That's where that came
It
from.
is.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
the podcast itself started, and the reason we picked a quote from As Good as It Gets is me and my brother started this podcast together. So we used to me and my brother would always have these conversations. He'd be getting ready and heading to work around the time that I'd be getting out of work.
Oh yeah.
So I'd
What'd you
shoot-
do?
What do you do?
So I'm a pipe fitter, and so he.
I think you're losing track.
So I'd shoot him a
I
call,
got it.
and we would just talk about whatever came up or whatever's on our minds, and we talk about anything from music to he's a guitar player, I'm a drummer, so we talk about music or whatever we're interested in at the time, and then we'd start talking about bigger idea stuff like depression, anxiety, whatever things that we've dealt with, issues with our parents and familial issues or whatever. And I always felt like we had interesting conversations that may be helpful to people that are going through similar things. And I was like, why don't we do a podcast and talk about all this stuff? Because I feel like even though I'm in the conversations, I felt like the conversations were interesting.
Good.
And him and I think differently enough that there was always some kind of friction in the conversation, which, I think was another level of like how, it being interesting, is that there's this, mild conflict in the ways that we think. And, he's the oldest brother. I was the youngest until our parents all got remarried. So we have different ways of thinking about stuff. We were raised in different stages of our parents' lives, So we definitely grew up differently. Although we're only 7 years apart, we think similarly and very differently on a lot of different subjects. So we started doing the podcast when we were in a band together back in 2016.
I was going to ask you if you guys ever played together.
Yeah, that
Okay.
mostly. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
most of the bands that I've been in have been with him.
Well, that's why it keeps
That's the
falling
problem.
apart.
Yeah.
It's not the drummer; it's
Literally,
the guitar player.
yeah. So, well,
Wait.
no, it is absolutely mutual. So we did. I think we did literally one episode back in 2016, but like I was like getting ready to break up with my girlfriend at the time, who is the mother of my kids. He was going through a divorce, and our best friend, who was our guitar player and singer, was going through a heroin addiction, and it was just an absolute shit show. Like it couldn't have been worse time for us to try to get into something and take it seriously. Like all of our regular lives were just falling apart, and it's like, hey, let's add something to it.
Let's talk about just how crappy this all is.
And it's like it just was not going to be sustained. So
Okay.
the band breaks up. We don't do another episode, and then 7 years later or something, we're like, hey, let's do that again. And then we had like 2 quick conversations about it. And then I talked to my boys and I go, hey, are you guys okay with being in one bedroom? And they were like, yeah. And they actually got excited about it. And I was
Wow.
like, game on. And I went into psycho mode and just moved
Nice.
everything into one bedroom and made a crappy little studio over a card table, hung a bunch of random malarkey behind the table so it looked good on camera. And I was like, let's go. We got a studio.
How fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating, all of it.
Yeah. And then and after a few months of doing it, I think Chris realized that he was having a hard time recording an episode, putting out an episode, and then not kind of going through it with a fine-tooth comb, going like, I should have said this, and you talked over me, and I don't like the way I come off. And
That's a lot of work. It's not just sitting here talking. I
Right.
mean, there's the tech side of things, and then to put it out and then to promote it.
yeah,
I mean, that's just like in the band, the smallest amount of time that you actually get to play. I mean, on stage is 30 minutes if you're lucky, or an hour, but a 30-minute set. But you've just spent your whole day
oh yeah.
loading out, loading in, setting up, tearing down, getting,
But not only that, but the months
and the rehearsals,
of the
yes,
writing
yeah,
and the rehearsals
yeah,
and the practicing.
This is all written.
Yeah. But it's
So if you
I
flip to
get
your
that.
page,
But I get that, and unless you're in the industry and play, you don't realize how much it's not downtime. I mean, you're doing more stuff away from the stage than you're
absolutely.
actually doing on
that's
stage.
how stand-up is too. Stand-up is brutal. Stand-up's brutal. I mean, I write constantly, every day, all day,
really?
constantly.
You are a comedian.
Yeah, yeah. And,
Sounds so funny to say.
He's a funny pipe fitter.
that's how I open up my sets. I walk on stage and I go, I'm a pipe fitter.
Oh, I love it.
And-
No, she's
No, he doesn't.
No,
no.
my opening line for the set I'm doing right now is, "Hey, you guys don't know this, but I used to be a fat piece of shit." That's the opening line.
Okay. Oh, I remember you.
And then I talk about, then I go into my set about Ozempic. But
Do you really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I lost 100 pounds last year. Woo!
Did you really?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, no
You're
kidding.
kidding.
I did. Yeah, it's all Ozempic.
Oh, well, congrats. I mean, it's amazing they've come up with that because
Yes,
No kidding.
It's a
wonderful.
game changer
Yeah,
for people. So.
yeah. I mean, I had, in all honesty, I had yo-yoed probably about 50 to maybe 70 pounds up and down since I was like 20 years old. Just like could never, like I'd go into the psycho mode where I'm going to the gym every single day. I'm starving myself and I'm like just drinking water and blah, blah, blah. And obsessing about, and then you get burnt out because you're hyper focused on something that's just not sustainable, and then
It's hard.
and then it starts slipping away. You start going out to eat, and then all of a sudden the rails are off, and then the weight's
and
back.
it gets harder as you get older to
Yeah.
find the kind of time and the discipline to follow through that. We're very blessed that we discovered a keto diet about 3 years ago, and we've stayed with it.
Yeah.
And that has really helped us immensely.
How do you feel on the keto diet? Because I felt horrible and then amazing.
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, I've got tons of energy and stuff, and we find that food doesn't really matter that much, although we do go out and buy Kringles, which are these amazing Danish pastries.
And he made a mistake and ordered two, and we got two.
We got two in
this
1 week,
and forgot he ordered one.
and you read the
Thanks.
label. Well, I get them from my mom because she loves them, so I'll send her that. Or I'm sending her a carrot cake for Mother's Day, and so I keep sending her sweets and stuff, and I know that's cool. So I'll buy something for us at the same time. But if we buy it, we go through it in a day. It does not
And
last.
his mom says, mine lasts me 7 days. I'm going, oh no.
We look at the label and it says, this will last for 5 days in the fridge. I go, well, how long does it last on the counter? About an hour.
Yeah, not
and
long.
So
That's
that's
so
why we
true.
don't buy them, because we will just go right through them. So as long as we don't bring that stuff into the house, the keto thing works well. We don't have any real problem. It gets a little boring once in a while. You just kind of run out of fun things, but we really like steak, and we discovered, my brother sent us some Omaha steaks a few years back, and now we just subscribe to it, and they just keep coming, and that's what we'll have, that and like onions and a pepper for dinner, and we're fine.
Yeah, that's like my that's my
That's where
favorite
you'd
meal
add a
right
lot.
there.
Oh, is it?
Steak, onion,
Really?
peppers, and jalapenos is
Oh,
like my
there you
favorite
go.
meal.
So, and that seems to keep us maintaining it. Sometimes you go up and you go down, like you said, but we haven't yo-yoed big time in a long time, which is really nice. So I feel very glad about
We
that.
eat a lot of chicken too.
Yeah, so
Yes.
do we.
The kids
Chicken
get so
is
mad.
Do they?
Oh, chicken
again.
Yeah, dude, it's
fine.
sheep protein.
Oh, it's so good.
But
Oh.
yeah, I love chicken.
I
But,
try to make it in different ways, but
So I did keto. I want to say in like 2016, 2017, like whenever it was starting to really become like a big topic on. Like I listened to Rogan's podcast like all
sure.
day at work when
Nice.
I was a maintenance guy, and he was really into this keto diet, and so I was like, let me try this, because I'd gained weight. I was like 200, I don't know, maybe 75 pounds or something, like pretty fat.
Yeah, it's big.
And so I was like, let me try this. And I got horrifically sick for like the first week. So bad that I worked in an apartment complex, and there was a big office at the apartment complex where we had like a lounge area that people could rent for birthday parties, And I went to sleep on the couch for an entire day at work because I was so sick. I probably should have went to the doctor.
Wow.
It's like what they're calling like the keto flu. Like you don't have
Yes.
enough
Yeah,
fat.
heard
yeah,
that,
we
right.
read
You know?
it. I remember reading about that.
So
yeah.
I was like sweating. I had no energy. I was like dry heaving, and so then I started adding MCT oil to my diet which is medium chain triglycerides. It's a fat, medium chain triglycerides you can use to supplement, because you're running on fat on the keto diet,
Right.
fat and protein and low carbs. So I was not getting enough fat in my diet. I was eating like ground beef and steak and trying to get down avocados, but I could not stand avocados at the time. So I just had this complete fallout, and I stopped doing it for a while. And then once I figured out if I just supplement with, what I can't get in butter or whatever, whatever.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but the problem with MCT oil is it's going to mess up your stomach. That's the way I'll phrase it for you guys. I'm trying to be polite.
But it does help you lose weight, right? I always say that when I get the flu. I go, well, that's God's way of dropping 5 pounds, just like that.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I did feel good. My brain fog went away when I was doing the keto diet. Like I felt sharper than normal, and I mean, sometimes I'd be like, what was that band? Like, I love this band. I can't think of it. Like, who is the drummer for? I can't even think of the band, and I just have these like roadblocks in my memory.
sounds like you need to do it again.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, you know what? I'll
His memory
I'll
is
accept it.
terrible.
As
Wait for Paige.
I'll accept it as at that instead of being like it's selective hearing. But yeah, sure. I have a terrible memory about whatever thing you told me we have to do for the family or
funny.
whatever.
But so it works for us.
Yeah.
And it's nice because we can fall off of it every once in a while.
Did you start doing the keto diet strictly for weight, or
Yeah.
was there other
Strictly for weight.
Okay.
It's been probably 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way I was looking on stage, because I play turned sideways to the crowd because I'm the front man, and so I can sing and play like this, and that's what I do. And I started.
I'm sorry, it just reminds me that one time when I took a picture of you, and he said he had a black and yellow shirt on. He goes, I look like a chubby bee.
I just, I'd always been thin. And my guitar player, Billy, is rail thin. I mean, he could wear a spandex from the 70s without even thinking twice about it. But I just didn't like the way I looked. I go, man, that's terrible. And so I started moving my keyboard slowly this way. So I'm kind of behind him now, going, I don't want to do that because that's not how I play. And
Yeah.
So so we just tried to figure out what to do, and we tried this keto, and it seemed to work well for me.
Yeah.
So that's, I'd say it's a good thing but it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
I can't recommend it other than give it a try and see if it works. Right?
Dude, I tell you what, though, to circle back to the jumping on the Ozempic, like it kind of, I didn't realize how much, like, how insatiable I was. Like I if you put a dinner plate in front of me, I was going to eat everything that's on the plate, and I'd probably snack, and I'd probably need something sweet to finish it all off. You know what I mean? And I never felt like I was eating like a complete fat ass, like in those time periods. But now, like, looking back, I'm like, man, I was like, I can't believe how much food I used to be able to eat, and like it just felt like a normal meal, And I got on this. I talked to my doctor. You hear all this like propaganda that's like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. Just discipline. Hard work and discipline's all you need. You're gonna give yourself some disease. And so I read a book, which is The Magic Pill by Johann Hari, where he goes through the history of GLP-1s, which is what Ozempic and Zepbound and Mounjaro are. And he goes through the history of how they were developed, how long they've been around, what's the risk factors. And I felt like after reading that book, I'm like, okay, let's try this, because the dangers of obesity far outweigh the like minute risk that you're going to end up with some of these, risk, end up with whatever this risk factor is, this thyroid cancer, the stomach paralysis. It's like so infinitesimally small that you're going to get compared to the
big things that are
compared to heart disease, cancer, all of the diabetes, like all the things that come along with obesity, and so I was like, okay, let's try this thing. And it was I started off with the lowest dose, obviously, and I tell you what, like that day or maybe the next day, it was like a switch was flipped. It was just like
No.
and just the food noise was gone.
Wonderful.
And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that like so much of that was just emotional. Like, oh, I'm just like eating for comfort. I'm eating to like, because I enjoy I enjoy the comfort of eating all of these meals that have, satiated whatever emotional thing I was doing, or going through. And instead it just switched that right off. And I was like, oh, this is not an accessory that I need, know, and I've progressed up to higher and higher doses to like try to hit certain goals, and I feel good on it. I'm on my way back down through the doses. Like I'm trying to get on less and less doses right now. And I tell you, I went from my heaviest was 320 pounds, and this morning I was, 217, 218 or something? I don't know. It goes to your phone.
You want me to pull it up?
No, you don't have to. I mean, you can if you want to. I think I was 218 this morning. So
all right.
We have one of the smart
that's
scales.
like $150 you've lost.
And just 100. Yeah, just 100 pounds. Right. Yeah, but yeah, but 100 pounds. I mean, it's you don't realize how much being a fat ass affects you until you're not anymore, and you're like, oh, like. Just the basic stuff like tying my shoes, running upstairs. Like I'm a pipe fitter, so kneeling.
Were you heavier when you did the meniscus thing?
I was heavier than I am now.
Okay.
Yeah, but not. I was like I think I was like 240 ish when I did that. But I was running every day, so it was different. It was a different composition of my body. Like
but I tell you,
look
that's
pretty
impressive
similar.
that you were at that weight and running.
Oh, I've always.
That's pretty impressive.
I've always been a thick guy, and I've always been athletic. So I've. Like,
all right.
Yeah. So like yeah. I'm having a flashback to my friend Laura. I was like, I remember calling her when I was like, I don't know, maybe 16, 17, something. I called her like, hey, you want to go for a run? She's like, you run? I'm like, yeah. Do you want to go for a run? Yeah. And then I'm like turning around going, come on. Like we're good.
Wow.
Like if I'm going to get a workout in, we got to go. And I remember her saying like, you're way more athletic than I thought you were. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it is. Well, and if you look at like offensive line or defensive line of football teams, I mean, those are big dudes.
Yeah.
And they run.
Yeah.
And they move.
And they
yeah.
run.
Yeah.
So, it's like you don't have an excuse to not do it.
Right.
Except I do because I can't walk. So I can't run. But I was born with 2 feet with extra bone in each foot.
Me too.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, yeah.
I have no arch.
I have a super high arch.
Oh, I have none. It's so flat in a shower, it'll do a suction cup where you really got to work to pull your foot up with the extra bone. It's just this big flat surface. And so that threw me off for a long time. And the reason that the knee first got hurt, which was not that many years ago, was I was trying to find orthopedics for my feet that would allow my feet to feel better after playing. And we did the regular ones and then got super ones. And they sent me to an actual place that built these orthopedics
I
for
have
my
those.
shoe. All right. So she put them in, and bless her, I know she didn't mean it, but she would look at me and she would watch me walk. She goes, "Oh my God, how do you even walk on those deformed things?" And she would say this, and I'm a grown man, and I felt like a little kid going, "What?"
Would you say that to a little kid?
I know. And she goes,
That's so
"This has
mean.
got to be the worst feet I think I've ever seen in my life."
When I went in, they were like, they were just looking at me like, oh, those are weird. You have some weird feet. And I'm like,
That's great. Yeah.
Thanks.
so-
I know.
I feel so good now.
I think you guys have the same foot doctor.
Maybe. So they built these Frankenstein things for me, and it was interesting because I gained 2 inches in height putting them in. I go, well, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know, and so I wore them for just a little while, and then my knee started hurting. And I go, what is this? So then we went to the doctor, and they looked at it.
Do you think that's what's causing your?
Uh-oh.
I wonder if that's why my knee's bothering me
Well,
now.
let me
whole
tell you. So
reason
this
of
is
this
what happened.
whole-
The whole thing. So I went and got the MRI and
Yeah.
stuff, and he said, the meniscus is shredded. He said, what are you doing? I said, nothing. I said, I'm just walking, and I showed him my orthotics, and he goes, this thing, you've had an entire life of walking a certain way, and your body got used to it, and your feet hurt, but your body got used to it. Now your feet are in the right position, according to a doctor, and your knee has totally collapsed because it doesn't know what to do with this new alignment. So he says, you got one or two things you can do. Keep wearing those orthotics and get your knees replaced, or quit wearing the orthotics, and your knees should come back into alignment. So, and they basically did with the shots and stuff. So I don't wear any orthotics anymore. Where I wore them
Right.
for 50,
Which is
60
amazing.
years.
Yeah.
But those last ones actually blew this knee out. And he just said, your body wasn't ready for that type of alignment.
Yeah, mine, I've always had issues with my feet since I was a little kid. Even when I was a kid, I had they made these little cups to go in the heel of my shoe, and I had to wear those. But then as a teenager, I got different ones. And then recently, a year and a half ago, I tripped on a bike in our garage and hurt my ankle. And I was in a boot for 6 months, had the whole, couldn't walk for a couple days after it.
Oh my gosh.
And then went through physical therapy. There's just no progress. So then they put me in these orthotics. So now, and then I started working out again after all my injuries. And now my knee's bothering me. But it's also the same time as I've been wearing the orthotics more. So,
Oh, gosh.
It's hard to know.
and then
It's
I
hard to
got,
know.
I went to my doctor and got an x-ray, but you can't tell with a knee on an x-ray.
No.
But it's something about medial narrowing, which
They
is what they
always say
told
that.
him at first too. And I was like, okay, this is what you guys told my fiance at the same time. So you told him the same thing, and his meniscus was torn. So can we just skip? Can we just go to the
Get the
MRI?
MRI.
Can't we just do the MRI?
Right.
Just
And she was
right.
like, nope, we have to do physical therapy first.
Oh,
I'm like,
shoot.
Yeah. They try to do the same thing to me. So they have me stretching when I have a piece of meniscus stuck in between my ligament and my bone. It's so dumb.
That's a shame, and unfortunately, that's the medical system, which is really tough. I mean, they have ways that they do things, so you're lucky if you can find somebody who can get you beyond what you're dealing with and say, okay, yeah, we need to look at this right now.
Yeah.
So I'm so sorry for you because I know what you're going through, but and I thought the orthotics were going to be the answer to everything, and
Right.
so my feet
Oh,
were
yeah.
finally feeling good, and then what's going on with this knee, man? And just to hear him say that, he just said, well, it's very simple. You just ruined your knee with these orthotics. And it's just
man.
well, who can you talk to? Yeah, it's so whose fault was
who's-
this?
yeah, who's
I'd,
right?
I'd say it's your parents. They gave you those feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, his poor mom. She goes, "Oh, what did I
Yeah,
do?"
she goes, what did I do wrong to cause you to have that? And I said, well,
my
it was
mom blames my dad for it.
Well, and it was
Smart
my
mom.
dad. And it was my dad. He had this flat feet. He didn't go into World War II because of
That's
he had
right.
such flat feet. They
Oh,
wouldn't
really?
take him back then. Now they'll take anybody. But yeah, so that's why he didn't go. So, which is good because then he met my mom,
Yeah.
and here I am with them same feet.
Yeah, my dad always has to get he'll like freeze water bottles and he'll be like rolling his feet on them.
Oh, that's good.
For like
yeah.
plantar fasciitis.
Oh,
that's
So
smart,
he's
though.
always
that's painful
doing
too.
that.
Oh,
yeah.
it is.
That's also what they.
Well, this is a great show.
Tried to say,
Anything
I
else
know.
we can work about?
Medical show. All right.
This is the show. We get in the weeds about
You
anything.
never know. You never know
love
what's
it.
gonna come up on this
someti-
show.
I mean, God, sometimes we had a guest that he kept, every time we would start talking about something other than the band that he was from, he'd be like, "We got to circle back," and I'm like, "That's not how this goes."
Oh, I love that we got to circle back.
We got to get back to the band. I'm like, just because we're talking
As
about
I
like,
was
AI
saying,
or whatever.
yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, we can't talk about this."
So
We
you
gotta-
never had him back again.
We get no. I will not have them
All
back.
right.
again. No, they were a problem.
Wah, wah.
They were annoying. They
Probably shouldn't say that.
That's okay.
Whatever.
A lot of people
Cut it
say
out.
that.
Just edit it
Mark,
out.
I'm sure, said circle back at least once, so we're cool.
no, he was like, that guy was like, he was like road blocking anything that we talked about that he didn't like. He would be like, you know what? This isn't my show. We can't be talking about this. We got to get back to the band. And I'm like, no. Anyway, let's continue on. Like,
it.
what were you talking about?
Everything you do sounds like a stand-up. That's
Yeah,
great.
really,
You could
yeah,
do a whole
yeah.
stand-up on that. People on your show.
Right. Oh, man. Yeah, I could do, yeah.
You could do a stand-up. Let me talk about the guests on my show.
I could do a full set just on that. I could do a full set just on that band that came on. That was an issue.
I wasn't there for that one.
Bands are interesting. I mean, at this point in my life, I, of course, was with Sweet Crystal for 40-some straight years before I started branching out. We retired, 10 years ago?
2016.
Yeah, 2016. She worked at the high school as the assistant principal. I worked at the Board of Education, which was in the same building. So if you wanted your kid in the school district, you had to go through me. If she wanted to kick somebody out and they didn't like it, they would come back to me, and I say, "Well, let me just talk
I
to
never
Mrs.
wanted to kick
I know.
anybody
Let me
out.
talk to
They
Mrs.
brought a
Speck and
gun
see what
to
she said."
school or a large knife.
But it was, so we worked
Right.
together for 6 years, and that was the end of, because I did a lot of jobs, and she was always the breadwinner and the steady.
Oh, I never thought of it
I
that
know.
way, though.
But it was
No.
nice because of her gig. I was able to do all the gigs I did. And it was-
I'm alive because of you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And so 10 years later, here we are just doing music full time. But Sweet Crystal's only so much of that. And so I started playing keys for a lot of different people. I didn't realize there was a dearth of keyboard players.
I don't think I've ever heard you say dearth.
As opposed to a plethora
What is-
of bass players.
What does dearth mean?
A lack. There's not a lot of keyboard players out there. And so I found a lot of opportunities to play, and I play with a guy named David Winans of the Winans family with his band Pie. He also will come in and guest bass with us. And I play with a band called Secondhand Mojo, which is a kind of a Midwest classic rock band. Although it's original music, it just sounds like 70s and 80s. I've circled back. And
I don't mind the
No,
phrase
that's
circle
okay.
back. I don't mind the phrase circle back.
All right, we need to keep talking about me.
Yes.
No,
I
I
drove
Please
out
tell
here
us,
today.
Mark.
No,
Okay, so what are your other projects?
So that, and now Mars Radio, which is playing tomorrow at the Token. And we've got one called Cutie Pie, which is interesting because my name is Mark and people call me Q. And David Winans' band
It's
is Pie.
M-A-R-Q for those.
really?
Yeah,
No.
and so it was Q, the cross, and Pie. So we started Cutie Pie.
Yeah.
We just had a gig last weekend at Corktown where we had a girl by the name of Peggy Turner Carr. So we made her the T. So it worked out really well. So we got
great.
that, and we have one called The Saints with Tasha Owens, if you may know Tasha, which is more of a religious thing for doing the churches, doing a lot of the churches in Detroit. We have something called the Unity Fest, June 27th. It's
I think I've
downtown
heard it.
Detroit. Yeah, I'm the music director for it, so it's 10 bands and it's an all-day thing. It's free, family friendly. It's right downtown. I mean, it's put on with 4 or 5 different local churches that come together and we do this thing.
Mention the main church, Pastor Willis.
Pastor Willis of
Yes.
Willis Temple Ministries,
Yes.
he's a recovering addict and alcoholic and became a minister, and he is really down there gung-ho with some pretty hardcore people that he's
Needy
bringing in,
people,
needy.
yeah.
And so we're working with them now. This is the second year we're putting this together. So God has me doing a lot of different things, and whether it's an actual Christian band, a Christian project, I think I bring Jesus with me wherever I go, and it's interesting to see the interaction within the bands that may not always start off friendly or I don't know how to say it, but all of a sudden people become nicer. It's very interesting. Like you were talking about, swearing a lot. And I watched some of your podcasts, and I said, well, realize that's what people are. I don't care. Just realize I'm not going to say it, but
He has once or twice, and then I just know something's really
and that
wrong.
means I'm really hanging out with somebody who's doing a lot, and all of a sudden you just kind of pick it back up and go, yeah, sorry.
So we won't be seeing you again.
Yeah, sorry. Unless
I've done really
hope
well.
not.
I'm gonna pat myself on the back. All right?
You have been stellar.
I have like 90
sitting there, just
F
waiting.
words I
Yeah,
need to
just
get
waiting.
out. When you guys leave, I'm just gonna
All right.
I'm gonna unload like a machine gun.
That's all
I'm
right.
backed up here.
And see, and it doesn't bother me, but it's interesting because we have had people that I've played with, and all of a sudden they'll go off, and all of a sudden go, "Oh, sorry, Q."
Yeah.
I go, "That's okay," But it's neat that all of a sudden they realize that it's just so simple for them to say it. It doesn't have a lot of meaning anymore, and then
It's my if I'm being
then
honest.
it filters down to like your kids and stuff, and then it's going to be very hard to tell them not to do that when you're doing it. So I get that. So
Don't shoot me, look.
I say that to him all the time.
No, okay, but not to. Well, I'm gonna give myself an excuse, but I don't
Okay.
mean it as
Please,
like
we
a.
need to hear
I don't
this.
mean it as an excuse, but
Let's hear the excuse.
hold
Come
on.
on.
No.
We need-
All right, go ahead.
I grew up around. I grew up around people who were, what is the word for,
Pipe fitters?
no
They also have
no
potty mouths.
no liars.
Okay.
Liars.
What is the habitual liars? That's the word I was looking
okay.
for.
Oh.
I grew up around habitual liars, and I mean like making up entire lives just to entertain a cashier, like you know what I mean, like that kind of level of just
Very sad.
idiocy. And I was eavesdropping, and I heard when I was like, I don't know, maybe 20 years old, I was eavesdropping unintentionally, and I heard somebody talk about me the way that they talk about my liar relative, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta
They talked
change.
about you?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
wow.
I was picking up on those habits
I
of,
gotcha.
of exaggerating and just fabricating, looking for attention with just fake.
So you
stories.
really wanted to be a lead singer,
And
is
I
what
was-
you're saying. I get it.
So I tell you what, the just to round my way back to swearing, to circle back, I have no filter. Like I don't like, and I don't. There's people that use that as an excuse to be an ass, like, oh, I just don't have a filter, but like those people normally are just like rude and inconsiderate. Me, I don't know what a normal amount of truth is because I grew up around so much lies. I'm like, I just have to be, because I need to protect my reputation, like viciously protect my reputation. I need to make sure that I'm not even flirting with my old tendencies, which is to lie. And so for me, that's, if I'm filtering what I'm saying, or if I'm trying to be careful about what I'm saying, I start to feel like I'm being disingenuous, and that starts to be like, okay, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm going to say fuck a few times. But that is in the vein of me trying to be as authentic and real with you as I can be. And
I
that,
think we need to leave now,
and
Mark.
but it's in the vein of trying to be as authentic and honest as I
Pretty
can
lame
be.
excuse.
I think that people that
That's the truth.
exaggerate, like you're talking about, or embellish or lie,
Yeah.
is because they don't have a real good self-worth. They don't have a good picture of who
Absolutely.
they actually are. So they
Absolutely.
make up stuff to make themselves seem
Yeah.
bigger in the eyes of the person they're talking to.
Absolutely.
And that's tough. I mean, so you really got to go back and work on a person's self-worth and make them realize you don't have to embellish anything to me to make me like you. I already like you.
I
So it's-
remember having a phone call with that person and being like, you did this and this is real, and you were this person and this was real, and that's enough. I don't understand why you have created these alter egos of things that you have never done, and no one is buying what you're selling, and you're turning off people that you could have close relationships with. And instead of having close relationships with these people, everyone is at an arm's length because no one knows who the hell you are, and that person was drunk when I was having that phone call with them, and he started sobbing, and I felt real bad about it because there's a power dynamic in the family with that person where I'm supposed to be a subordinate. So it was real weird to make that person cry by telling him to grow up, basically. And that is the only time he let the curtains. He let me peek behind the curtain and be like, yeah, you know what? It's because of this. And I know that, and I can't get past it. And you're like, you're talking about a 60-year-old man who's like still struggling with trying to impress his parents, you know?
That's tough. And alcohol doesn't help. I mean, alcohol
No.
is it can be such a killer.
Yeah.
You know, and that's tough stuff. But you just got to love them. It's tough love, and that's what it sounds to me like.
Yeah.
That's what you were doing. And
In that moment, I was. Now I'm more into a self-preservation mode where, because of, you know, what's that saying about like a squirrel who's indecisive gets hit from cars on both sides
on
of the
both
street.
sides. That,
So-
that explains the gun under the table there.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Self-preservation. I get it.
Okay, we're gonna back out of here slowly.
No, but it's as much as I want to be empathetic and helpful, and you gotta get. Sometimes you get to a point where like you're so devastating to be in my life that it's not. This is no longer worth it. I have kids to raise.
I
have
feel
so
like
many
we've had a very
profound
good.
things.
I think we've had a very good session here today. We're going to have to do this again.
Yeah, it's kind of like, trying to get us.
No, I like this.
No, I do too. I
think these guys
you're
need to
really
talk.
Deep, and you really play off of him well, but you also add. I'm just very impressed with you two. I feel like we should be having you on.
Yeah, you should come on our podcast.
Do you have a podcast?
Do you have
actually?
one?
No,
Oh, you're fucking around.
but we do have
They're
a
saying
studio.
you talk too much.
I do have a studio.
No, not at all. I mean, I would turn in to watch you.
Yeah,
appreciate
it's
that.
a
And
it's a
you're very
nice
comfortable
it's a
with
nice
him.
dynamic.
So
That's very cool.
Hi, I'm Jan. This is Mark, and we're interviewing today Paige and Matt. So tell us about yourselves. How did you meet?
Well, I'm a pipe fitter.
Oh no.
And so she saw me on Tinder or whatever, and I was welding
Really?
pipe. And she was like, "That's hot. I gotta message this guy." And
Oh,
then-
that's so cute. Is that true?
No.
It was Facebook dating. It wasn't Tinder.
Oh, that's so great. We have a lot of friends that have met on Facebook.
absolutely, absolutely.
It's funny, all these like every generation before it was kind of fun to be like, well, how did you guys meet?
I actually was curious how you guys met because you
Really?
you keep bringing it up.
Oh,
you,
I do?
You said a couple of times.
you guys,
We
well, you
wouldn't
guys
have-
met.
not
Oh, yeah,
like
okay.
how you two met.
Let's circle back.
So, okay, wait, hold on. Let me piece it together.
Right.
So far, we know.
Okay.
Matt likes
You
to
were
play
at-
games.
You
of-
were at U of M. Oh, I also need. Well, you guys told us what you did for a living, so we can't play that game.
he
But-
usually plays a game of guessing what people do for real.
that
like,
would be fun.
Their day jobs.
So
But-
okay, so you were at U of M. And
Yes.
you were wanting to study, or you were studying pharmacology, and you said, "Thank God that you were there, even though you backed out of it, because you guys wouldn't have met otherwise." So either you were also in school there, or you're like an Ann Arbor-ish local, and that's how you guys met.
Ipsy.
Ipsy. Okay, so it's Ann Arbor-ish. I'll call that ish.
Ish.
Nailed it. Okay. All right. So, and you guys met
Yeah,
at a
yes.
gig or something.
Well, that's wow,
Well, that's
interesting.
interesting. No, we
Very
did.
close.
We met at a bar.
We did. In
She
fact,
she was
yeah.
a teacher.
Yeah, I was a
and
teacher,
she was
been
on
teaching for
school
a couple
break
years.
summer,
Summer.
and she was a one-time only waitress at a place called
That's
the
right.
Underground. It was a club in Ypsilanti, in the border between the two. I had just come off the road. We had signed with a new management company, and I had nowhere to go. And I went. I knew the band that was playing there. I'd never been there before, but so I went to see them and met the guys there. Played foosball because that was a big thing back then. And I saw her being a waitress, and I talked to her a little bit, and she said all the guys in the band came up and talked to me. And then another friend came, and we left. Drove around, went to a couple other clubs.
But when he left,
I
yeah,
just kissed her.
yeah.
She was just there, and I just kissed her.
Yeah.
And I said, "I'll see you." And I left.
He came up and started talking to me. We
Yeah.
talked for a little bit.
So I left and got back home, got dropped off. Didn't have the keys. I couldn't find the keys to get in my apartment. No idea. So I had to backtrack everywhere I went. Ended up going back to the Underground. It's 20 after 2 at this point. You know, bars close at 2 in theory.
Yeah.
I walked in. I told her while I was there, I was looking for my keys. She goes, "Are those it?" And they were right there where she was standing
Like
up
right
by the
there.
bar. They were right there.
Oh my gosh.
So I said, "Yeah." And so we sat there, we sat down, we started talking for another 25, 30 minutes. It's almost 3 o'clock, and there's still people in the bar. The cops come in. It's still open. They take the guy's license off the wall, shut the place down. It never opened again.
Oh my god.
That was the last night. But anyway, she wouldn't give me her number. She just told me her name and said she's in the book. And so we left, and I tracked her down. I called her the next day. We talked for hours.
That's
And
hours.
We've been inseparable ever since. We were dated for a year, engaged for a year, and now married, going on 46.
Aw.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's a great story.
But
Is it?
that place existed just for us because neither one of us had ever. She'd never been a waitress, but she had a roommate or a friend. Or
A
something.
friend that lived in the same apartment complex,
said,
and
"Can
she
you-
asked me
can
if
you-
I'd
can you
cover
just
her,
go do it?"
her
And
gig
so
that night. So.
She just happened to go.
So
and
I
So you
just
didn't even
happened
you weren't like an employee there.
No.
No, and I was holding a tray. He came up and we started talking, and he asked me for my number, and I said no because he had all these people coming over and talking to him. I thought I'm just not going to be some number, so I said I'm in the phone book. So he called me the next day, but I'm holding a tray of drinks, which was amazing because I'd never done that before. And he came up and just said, "I've got to go. I'm going to call you." And he gave me a kiss, and I'm just standing there going, "Oh my gosh."
Like, who is this guy?
I know. I think we both said it was love at.
Yeah, we had to have been because we both just that was it.
That
We
was
never
it.
stopped.
We've been inseparable.
She
ever
softballed
since.
you for
Yeah.
you to finish her sentence, and you missed it.
I missed
Yeah,
it.
really. It was love at.
Well, I was at first.
Okay. At first sight, he says with the
Wait,
question
I want to
mark.
circle
Wait a
around.
minute.
Wait, what was it? What? Shoot.
And we finish each other's sandwiches.
There you go.
You're not going to eat that, are you?
Gosh, that's funny.
It's so stupid. I love
anyway,
it.
That was a good one.
She said it right too. I didn't think she was going to.
Right.
I haven't said that in a long time.
So it's very
So,
cool.
okay, so
that's
you
kinda
met on
what it was.
Facebook. So through that, so how did that, evolve, or how did that
Oh, man.
initial contact happen?
Real chaos in the beginning.
Really?
Severe chaos in the
No way.
beginning. Oh man. Yeah. So I was I was going through a custody battle with my ex. Me and my ex dated from 15 to 28 or whatever. So we were 13 years. We didn't like each other when we were friends. And it was just like one of those things where like teenagers, you start having sex, and then it's like, well, I guess I'll hang out with her, and then 13 years went by of just like her, like very unstable relationship, chaotic. Just we should have never been together. And I hate to say like put all this in the beginning of our relationship, but that's where I was. I was leaving a very long, difficult relationship.
You still lived with her.
We still lived together.
Like,
Yeah. We
Because of the custody battles.
because of the custody battle. So I moved. So when we broke up because she was doing things that I was not okay with happening in my relationship, cheating and whatever else, and we broke up. I moved in with my brother, and then I was talking to a guy on the job, and he's like, "Hey, there's abandonment clauses. Like, you left the house. You're not going to get the kids. You're not going to get any time with the kids. The kids are used to you not being there in the eyes of the court. You got to go back, dude." So I moved back in, and she didn't want that, and I was like, "Whatever. 30-day me out of my house. Then you can't do it. I will be here until the custody is settled, and then." Once I was an apprentice at the time, pipe fitter. I was an apprentice pipe fitter at the time, and I was like, when I get my tax return, because I had no money, when I get my tax return, I'll use that money to get my own place, and whatever. So we.
You don't have to go into the whole story.
Yeah, I'll skip. I mean,
it's a long.
though.
It's long.
there's a
and-
lot
We're
of.
not going
and
anywhere.
yeah.
Unless you
There's
pull
a-
that gun out.
So we had this chaotic like year of like living together, cohabitating, but then like we're dating other people, and it's just this weird dynamic that just made no sense. It was but anyway, so I ended up meeting Paige, and Paige finds out about all this chaos that I'm going through. Like, we get along like immediately, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta take this. Like, this is different. Like, I dated a couple other girls, and it was always like, this is just for fun. But then when I started talking to Paige, I was like, okay, this needs to be different. Like I knew that this was gonna go somewhere if I took it seriously. And so she finds out about all the chaos that I'm going through, and she's like, look, I whatever, we get along really well, and I think I can support you as a friend going through this, but I don't know if I can be
That's why I told
involved.
her, I can support you as your friend.
Yeah, she's like, I don't know if I can be involved, but like, this is just too much going on. And I was like, okay, you know.
That was
moving-
before we actually met in person.
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
This is
And
all
then
online.
this is all like phone calls and
calls.
text messages and like,
Really?
you know, and
Wow,
it's
interesting.
like just like I would go. It's funny enough, like when we first started dating, I'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go for a run or a walk. Do you want to talk?" And she'd be like, "Why is this guy always fucking calling me while he goes for a walk? Like, what a weirdo, you know?" And it was because I wanted to talk to her, but I was living with my ex, so I didn't want my ex to be eavesdropping on my
Sure.
conversation.
I get you.
But I also like going for walks, so I'd go out for these like 3, 4, 5 mile walks while I'm on the phone with her. But anyway, so like fast forward, I ended up moving out and moving in with my mom, which is just like tail between the legs. Like there's nothing that feels more defeating than like moving in with your mom when you're damn near 30, you know. But it was like, okay, this is what I need to do for now. And so I went to go meet Paige finally, and after all this chaos, and it was just like as soon as we met, it was like, oh damn it, like this is different. Like okay,
He rode his motorcycle to my house in February.
I did,
True love.
And then,
and then got stuck there.
then there was an ice
Of
storm,
course,
so he
you had
couldn't
to
leave.
stay.
Yeah.
You had to stay.
I was like,
And I had to work the next day.
yeah, she went to work. She was still a
She's going,
she was still a high school teacher.
Look around at all your stuff going, all right, I've just counted everything in this room. We'll see
Okay,
what's-
so
I remember telling the liaison officer at work, I'm like, yeah, I met this guy, and he's because I would like laughed at something that he sent me, and she saw me laugh at my phone, and she's like, what are you doing? And because I was walking down the hall, and I was like, well, I met this guy, and he's at my house, and she's like, you met someone, and he's just at your house.
I tried to leave and I couldn't get my bike out of the driveway. Like it was a complete ice storm. And I was like, oh, dude, I don't know what to do. And I was like, I mean, I could call my brother, I guess. He could pick me up, but I don't know what I'm going to do with my bike. And she's like, I have a key locked outside. She had already left. She didn't know I was like stuck and didn't know what to do. So she's like, I have a key hidden. Like you can just go and hang out in my apartment. I'm like, are you sure? Like, you're going to trust me to go in your house? Like, we met. And she's like, should I not trust you? And I was like, well, no. You can trust me. Like, I'm not a scumbag. Like, I'm just. And then
He cleaned
I'm
my
just
whole
new.
apartment.
Oh, yeah?
I
Oh,
clean-
there you go.
yeah, I
You're
cleaned up-
hired.
Good idea. Good
Hasn't cleaned since, but
whatever, dude. I was gonna ask, is that a weird move? I didn't know what to do. I wasn't gonna sit around and watch TV for like 9 hours while I wait for her to come back.
Yeah.
You know, so I just like I started. I was like, I'll do the dishes from what we ate or whatever, and then I was like, man, this drawer is a fucking mess. So then I like start digging into the. I start digging into
We
the.
have to have you over.
I don't do it anymore. I was
no,
just bored.
that was the first and only time he's ever cleaned.
She's like, you want to get really into it? Like, you can go into the closet in the spare bedroom. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing that one. But I did. I cleaned her whole apartment. I didn't know what else to do.
That's pretty
Like,
cute. That's
That's
cute,
so
though. Man.
nice.
That's pretty good. I like that.
I've told other people about that. And they're like, dude, that is the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
I
You
guess
clean this chick's apartment.
That was an adrenaline rush, though. You were like in love right away. You knew. And
Yeah.
I
it's like so
literally
happy.
told her in my sleep. I talk when I sleep. You tell it. I was unconscious.
Yeah, first time we spent the night, which was it the first day?
That was that night,
So that
yeah,
was
yeah.
that, yeah, because that was when the ice storm happened.
Yeah.
He rolled over and he goes, I love you. And I was like, no, you don't. And he's like, oh, it's only for the joke. And then,
For the joke.
It's
Yeah.
for the joke.
That's so great.
I was completely unconscious.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
and then
this
so the
happened.
next
For the
day,
joke, I love it.
the next day, I'm like, do you remember telling me you loved me in the middle of the night last night? He's like, what? No. He was so embarrassed.
Yeah. I've always talked in my sleep, and then for like the first year of our relationship, I'd like write her notes and be like, I love you for the joke. Like that's how I
Oh, I
signed
love
it.
Nice.
that. I love it.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
What a good line.
I like it.
I love it.
I love you for the joke. That's what God says about all of us. Watch this. These guys are great.
All right, let's dive into the Bible.
Oh, okay.
So now that I've talked about,
Oh, he's been listening to the Bible.
Really?
Oh, yeah?
but in the vein of like I've framed it as like, let me listen to it for entertainment and see if I'm picking up on something different. So okay,
You're in it for the joke.
This is what's in my mind. This is what's in the forefront of my mind right now.
Yes.
Do you remember the story of when Noah's found passed out drunk,
Yes.
Yeah.
and his son makes a big deal about it, and then the other two come in and they cover him,
Cover
to protect their father's dignity, and the third one who found him originally made it a public joke. Now I'm kind of feeling like that right now because I made a joke about made a deal about my relative falling short. I'm like, I shouldn't have went into all that.
It's hard.
No.
It's, it's
We
not
all
the same
do
thing
that.
whatsoever. But that's
Oh, no.
and Noah was. He deserved it, man. He was drunk.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one. I didn't.
Yeah, he'd
it's
been on a boat for
horrible.
a long time with nothing but animals.
Yeah.
A wife that's wondering what she got into. And all the kids are just beating on each other. And he got off and he got away from him. He thought he had done wrong in the eyes of the Lord. He didn't understand any of this, and he went and got just drunk and passed out naked on the beach, basically in his little tent or whatever he was in. And the one son found him. And just kind of went, and instead of doing anything, he ran around, tried to find his other brothers, going, "Hey, come check this out!
Yeah.
Come out, look what Dad's doing!"
Right.
And just and the other brothers went, "Nah, man, cover him up."
Right. So the one, the one
goes,
son made a mockery of his.
So I found my dad drunk
instead of
naked the other day.
And you mentioned though that's how you feel kind of about mentioning
Yeah.
your family member
To us.
and
Yeah.
yet that's
Sorry.
the human condition again. It's what we say and do, and we're just constantly at battle with that. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately too. And the only thing I can keep going back to is God, Jesus, help me.
Yeah, because
Save me
it'll
from
come
myself.
out of our mouths too.
Oh, yeah.
We have to make we have
yeah.
to make a decided decision not to say things about situations or people
all the time.
because there's always a situation and there's always people. And
Yeah.
so, we'll find ourselves.
There's always another person.
Yeah, so we'll find ourselves starting to talk about it and finally go, we just can't, you can't put this out because then we hear it.
But you are only human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I've got a few I can share with you about something.
Right.
I
No,
mean,
I know.
so yeah.
I know. I mean, that's the thing, man. Is you want to. I like it. Growing up, everyone, you don't gossip, you don't gossip, you don't gossip, and then it's but in my gossiping, I feel like I'm looking for solutions, or maybe I'm looking for ways to cope with things I don't agree with, and so I'm like, okay, well, if I'm seeking out help or advice in this thing that could be, perceived as gossip, but now it's untouchable, so now I can't even look at the thing. So the Noah, the father, does something that is despicable, but now we're not allowed to address it because you have to protect your father's decency. So it's so what am I supposed to do in this lesson? You know what I mean? What am I supposed to do if I can't find a solution and I have to protect his decency? Where do I fall in there? You know what I mean? That's a weird, hard lesson.
Yeah.
And I think in that story, I think the lesson is really supposed to be that despite that he was the savior of these things that got to survive the flood, he is still flawed and human.
Yeah,
but
we're all flawed and human. I
Yeah.
mean, that's-
but it's also about protecting the decency of your father, protecting the legacy of of the patriarch. But I don't. This dichotomy between flaw and respect. It's what do you do with that?
Yeah. Well, I think the fact that you're even thinking about
That's
that
the
is
key.
very cool
That's the
because some
key.
people would not think twice about disrespecting somebody. That's just part of who they are and what they do. And the fact that I don't think you did disrespect them, what we're talking about here. But the fact that you think about that, I think is a good testament to you because otherwise, if you didn't care about how these people felt by what you said, well, I think that would be a lot worse than you saying something and then feeling kind of bad about it. I don't know if I should have shared that or not. So I don't think you have any issues here going forward. I like it that you feel comfortable enough to talk about it with us because you don't know us from Adam and Eve, and we could tell you about that story.
And what we learned.
Yeah, what we learned. But so I see what you're saying, but you're on fine.
But see,
firm
that's
ground
God
here.
convicting you because the fact that you felt that even in that small instance, Mark and I get
That's the
that
Holy.
all the
That's
time.
that's what we consider the Holy Spirit.
And so
That's
it's thank you.
working at us
Otherwise, if we
constantly.
keep down that path and just do nothing but talk because it feels so good for the moment, not necessarily that, but
Yeah.
just when we talk, even sharing about our thoughts about someone or a situation, for the moment, it just that morsel, and then all of a
That
sudden,
little
God's
endorphin
going,
rush 'cause
"Who do you think
you're
you are?"
bonding on something
Yeah.
negative.
Yeah, bonding on the negative.
It's easy
Right.
to do. It's
Oh,
real
yeah, of
simple.
course.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's real science about venting or connecting on negativity where there's this like surge of oxytocin when you're bitching about something together.
Yes.
But it's also self-indulgent, you know. It's self-indulgent to, you know, I mean I look at it like, you know, like I rant for a hobby doing comedy, and I talk for a I talk in this podcast a ton, and I talk about a lot of shit that I probably shouldn't talk about, but to try to make sure that I'm not being self-indulgent in things that shouldn't be discussed, or I'm going about them in a way that isn't respectful. It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard balance to find, because I want to be authentic and honest, but I also don't want to be destructive. So trying to find this balance of like, okay, let's talk about real stuff, because people do go through real difficult things with their family members. And if me ranting about it on this show hurts the person in my life, but can be a source of comfort for somebody that doesn't think other people are going through the same stuff, I'm like, how do I find this balance between self-indulgence and, you know, what I would like to say is like my, you know, having like a virtuous reason to be talking about this stuff. You know, it's a weird thing. It's a weird balance to try to find.
But you seem to be doing a good job of it. I haven't really noticed anything that seems oppositional or anything that's antagonistic whatsoever. I think you're doing a real good job of it. I haven't seen all your shows, but I watched enough to be ready for it. And it's been a great experience.
Yeah,
This has been
fun.
really, really
Well,
nice.
and also it's a spirit in which you say it. You're not being mean, and that's the difference. When you talked about your concern, your situation that you dealt with a family member, you weren't mean-spirited. You were talking about finding yourself and changing.
Yeah.
But so you've been listening to the Bible?
I have.
That's
yeah.
amazing, though.
Looking for some punchlines.
Yeah.
So then Eve said,
It's all in Leviticus. That's the book with all the punchlines.
But that's interesting because you have such a good voice and a good delivery. I really sense that God's going to use you in a ministry with your sense of humor. And
I wouldn't be able to. Okay.
no, don't say
I've
that.
been
You
having
already
I've been
been.
having a real hard time not just saying fuck.
That's
I
all
can't
right.
do that at a
You know what?
church.
I was a public speaking teacher, and for many years, most of my kids were seniors in high school. And we had this one kid get up, and God love him, and every other word he just said, so I was effing this, and I was effing that, and when I effing walked down the street, and the effing cop pulled over, and I said, what the effing you calling me over, you know, and the kids, and so I sat at the back of the room, you know, kind of didn't want to, like, just be up front watching kids when they talked.
Yeah.
And everybody's turning, you know, rubbernecking, looking at me as a teacher, like, what are you going to do? You're going to stop this.
Yeah.
And so I just realized he had no idea.
That he was doing
He
it.
had no idea.
He does that too a lot.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
My family will call him out sometimes, be like, "You are saying the F word
You don't
a lot
know.
today."
You don't know. Right.
Like,
It's my
yeah.
Yeah, but you know,
that's a
but
good-
the thing is,
makes sense.
if you're going to go to the next level, which you will, I keep hitting. Thank you. Sorry, I won't wear a ring on that finger again.
It's okay.
I'm not ever coming back.
yeah. That's a big assumption. Yes. Thank you. We've got a space in 2028.
Did you call in the pizza? I think we've got to go pick it up. No, but no, there'll be some places where you won't be able to, and if you do, you'll be burned. You know, in your career. So the fact that we even talked about it is interesting, and it's not offensive. You're not saying it in anger.
Yeah.
So that's why Mark gave it another saying. What did you say? It stands for
Upholding or uplifting Christ's kingdom?
For uplifting Christ's kingdom. That's what you're
It's just
doing.
such a long word, though. Like
hilarious.
if something happens and you go, for uplifting Christ's kingdom, and people go, what? No, nothing. I'm good.
I'm gonna
I
start
got it
saying
out.
that.
I got it out.
I'm
You're
good.
going to yell that out after when the in-laws or whatever or
Yeah.
your family goes, that's what it means.
Well, that's the
Yes.
thing. I mean, being on job sites. It just doesn't
Oh,
matter
yeah.
what you say. So
It
it's like
doesn't.
it's hard. Like I don't have that muscle to filter. And I tell you what, like I talk the way I talk around everyone. You know, like my stepdad will like nudge me with his elbow and be like, you know, your grandma's right behind me. I'm like, she knows who I am. We have met. You know, she knows me.
No, that's funny.
Dude, my favorite. I love messing with her because she's like faint if you say the wrong thing about church, religious. You know, like oh, don't mess with my God. You know, and so
That's great.
when me and Paige moved in together, we had a housewarming party. I always do these bits to mess with my grandma, and I don't even know if she knows about them or knows about all of them, but the bit that I did with her is that so my grandma pulls me aside, you know, and we're at this, you know, we got 100 people at our house and we're barbecuing and we're drinking and whatever, you know, and people are in the house, people are out of the house, we're doing little tours, you know, we're all busy. And she pulls me aside by the arm. She goes, man, I just want to tell you how happy I am. You know, Paige is so lovely and she's such a nice, and you guys just get along so well. You look so happy and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. And she's like, what's wrong? And I go, it's nothing. It's fine. It's just, there's just one thing and I'm worried about it, but it's fine. And she's like, what's going on? And I go, it's just that Paige is like viciously atheist. And I don't know if like we can get past that.
Just not true.
And and she goes,
That's great.
and she's like, she is. Well, you know, honey, I'll pray on it, and you know, maybe she'll come around in the future, and you know, but you know, that's not our place though, and you know, I'll pray on it, and we'll see if she ever comes around, and then like a few hours. Well, maybe not a few hours, but like maybe a couple hours later, she comes over and she's got her fists on her hips. Matt, and I'm like, yeah, and she goes, Paige is an atheist. I go, oh, did you talk to her? And she goes, I know she's not atheist. She's not atheist because you have a painting of Jesus in your front room. I go, Grandma, that's Snoop Dogg. That's a painting of Snoop Dogg. That is Snoop G-O-double-D.
It's Snoop Dogg. It is Snoop Dogg.
Literally a
It's not-
painting of Snoop Dogg in our living room. She thought it was Jesus.
Oh, that's fabulous.
That's funny because he thinks he is too.
right.
Dude.
That's
funny.
good. What a sweetheart.
God.
Oh, I love it.
I love
it.
messing with her so much.
It is fun to mess with your grandma. My cousin and I used to take my grandma's wallet out of her purse all the time. She always go, where's my wallet?
Yeah.
We just love it, you know. I still have her wallet.
Oh man, the bit that I did at the wedding. Oh, the other one that I always think about with mess with my grandma. We were at a wedding, my cousin's wedding, and so you know, obviously half my half the wedding is my family, the other half of the wedding is the bride's family.
Groom's family.
No.
He's a groom.
This was at Savannah's wedding.
Oh, okay. So it was the groom's family. Okay, so the groom's family. Yeah, you're right. So a bunch of strangers we don't know, right? And like, so I'm out on the dance floor. I'm dancing with my grandma, messing around, you know. And I kept spilling my drink because I was saucy. And she's like, "I'm gonna tell on you, you know." And so she goes to tell on me for spilling my drink on the dance floor. So I was drunk, and so she goes to tell on me to my mom, which is hysterical because I was like 27
really
years old. She stomped away, and this lady dances over to me, and she's like, "Oh, is that your grandma that you're dancing with?" I go, "Yeah." She's like, "You guys are so cute." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "She's just the cutest thing ever." My grandma's like 4'0" with like a blonde afro. So, but she goes, "She's just the cutest thing ever." I was like, "Yeah, she's cute. She's super racist though." She goes, "What?" I go, "Yeah, she's like super racist." She's like, "Your grandma is?" She's like, "Oh, well, I guess that comes with the age, you know, like but she seems like a nice woman. I don't know." And then like, I couldn't have written it better. It's like a sitcom. My grandma comes over. My grandma comes back over And she goes, Matt, you won't believe what I just saw. I'm like, what'd you see? And she goes, I just saw 2 boys kissing on the dance floor. Dude, I've never laughed so hard in my life. So I just spread this rumor that my grandma's racist. It's so funny to me.
I feel like your life is a movie. It is a sitcom.
Dude,
Sometimes it feels like it.
I bet. Yeah. You can't write it.
oh, so funny. Dude, that was my that was a I just saw 2 boys kissing on the dance floor.
That sounds like the name of your, if you release a CD, Messing with Grandma.
Messing with grandma.
Matt Smith.
I gotta get more bits in there.
Oh, that's
I
great.
gotta see her. She just had hip surgery today. She had a complete hip replacement. She's like 87 or something years old.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. She runs around like she's 16. Like she'll run upstairs faster than I can.
She's like 80. She's almost 84.
Wow.
She's almost 84.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
But still, man, that's a major surgery for,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah.
older people. I mean, that's a tough one. So
Yeah, she's been through it, man. She has scoliosis, and they put rods in her back in the 80s, I think the 80s. But in the early 90s, the lever on her car seat broke, and the car seat flew up full speed, boom, into her back and broke the rods.
Oh, my God.
And they so that's why she's like 4 foot nothing. She was actually like 5'3", 5'4", whatever. But she's but
like
because of the
hunched over.
rods, she's hunched over like in her torso. And God, I think it took like damn near 20 years for the rods to start being a problem, because the day that your grandma died, my grandma was having back surgery to have those rods removed. You know, so I was like anxious all day at work thinking about my grandma going through this back surgery, and then she calls me and she's like, hey, this happened. I was like, what? I was like, because I had my grandma on my mind so hard, I was like I was having a hard time even grasping that her grandma died.
Oh.
But yeah, that was but yeah, she had to have the rods removed because they were poking through her skin after 20 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so, but she's been, like, the surgery went well. She's been fine without it. I don't think she's had any, like, serious regression in her scoliosis. So, but yeah, she's been through it, man. She's
and so this is all the stuff you put in your act.
I do not talk that.
Okay, where are you playing?
Where are you playing? I think we're busy.
Hey,
Hey.
I should talk about my grandma in my act.
You should
talk about messing with
especially
her.
saying how you mess with her, and then when the shtick on the wedding when
Oh,
she
man.
comes up and says, "You'll never guess what I saw."
Dude, she let me borrow her car for a few weeks while I was shopping for my truck. And so I went and when I returned, I got a car wash and whatever, and got the oil changed. But when before I returned it back to her, and when I went to a car wash that is like one of those subscription car washes, and they try to get you to sign up for the subscription, so you pay like a monthly thing. So they're like, oh, here's a free car wash on us. Keep this ticket in your window. And the ticket number was 666, and I was like, this is perfect, dude. I put it in her window. I was like, hey, don't forget, you have a free car wash. You got to do it within the next week. And she's like, Matt, throw that away. You should have went through again. And like a year later, she calls me and she goes, hey, I found a man's underwear in my car. What? And I go, yeah? What's his name? And she goes, no, they're extra larges and they're Hanes. Are they yours? I'm like, maybe? I was like, if they are, I'm not taking them back just in case you got some side piece. Like, I know. And she goes, well, do you want me to keep them so you can see if they're yours, or you want me to throw them away? I'm like, Grandma, they're probably mine from going to spend the night with Paige. Throw them away.
Do you want me to keep them for you?
I'm like, I'm not certain they're mine, dude. Like, no, I'm not taking this.
What a
You've
story.
been driving around with underwear. I'm like, is there stains?
Ew.
All right.
No, those are mine. I remember those ones.
All right. So yeah, I'm playing tomorrow night at the Token Lounge.
Circle back.
So let me ask you about this podcast. And do you go back and edit it, and then
I don't
put it
cut
on?
anything out. I just cut between back and forth
Cameras?
between
Oh, good.
cameras. Yeah,
All right.
that's it. Yeah, I normally tell people that at the head of it. It's like, hey, if you don't want something out there, don't say it because I'm not cutting it out. Because I've had people like message me and be like, oh, this thing I said. I'm like, we did a 3-hour podcast. I'm not finding.
There was a time like we were talking to someone one time and we thought he like told us exactly where he lived, and so we
Yeah.
were like, hey, do you want us to take that out? Because like
Yeah,
that didn't need to go out on
Yeah,
the
it was
internet.
like damn near
but
his
it
address.
wasn't.
Yeah,
It just sounded like it.
Yeah,
Is there anything
So-
we said that we want them to cut out? Let's see.
That's
We're
been
angels.
pretty good.
We're
yes.
I'm a little nervous here.
No, but we we haven't gotten into anything too serious. But
great.
we do so the audio always drops first. We do the audio at 5 a.m, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then the videos come out 4 p.m. on the same day. So if you're episode 60, for example, the audio come out 5 a.m, and the video come out at 4 p.m.
And I'm pretty good at promotions and stuff. So I'll, as soon as I get
Mark
links,
really is.
Right
so
on.
get links for you, I'll put them out there.
Kill
I've got
it, yeah.
I've got one video of a solo performance that I just did a little while back. An intro. It was an off the cuff intro that I did for Mars Radio because they needed an extra 3 minutes, and it's got 812,000 views.
Wow.
Oh,
yeah,
that's awesome.
We were listening to some of your stuff and we were like, these have so many. Like,
Yeah, I was
Really?
surprised. I was like, you got like
Plays.
450,000 streams on
It's
on
kind of amazing.
songs
Yeah,
for
whatever it
Sweet Crystal.
takes, whatever is needed. Yeah, Winwit. It just amazed me. I
Yeah.
just kind of went, who's listening to this?
Dude,
Yeah.
so with doing videos, sometimes I put so much effort into a video and I'm like, this one's gonna do so well, and it gets like 400 views, and then I'll do like an off the cuff stupid video, like my favorite video that popped off that makes no sense was we went to a bar and we sat at a table where I had carved me and my ex's initials into it, and I pointed it out to her. And I was like, "Ugh." And I took a video and I was like, and I put the caption like, you ever been in trouble for some shit you did 10 years ago? And that got like 150,000 views before we left the bar. I was like, oh my.
it was a dumb video.
She wasn't even mad.
wasn't
I was
mad.
just messing
I'm like,
around.
I
And then
wanna
we
see
were
that video.
when we were in Florida. Do I have something in my mouth?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Huh? What is going on?
Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
What was it?
I'm
It
sorry
was-
to derail
It was
you. I
like a
don't know.
spider, man. It was like doing a web. Yeah, it was like doing a web or
She's
something.
she's always pointing out my hairs that grow on the outside of
Sorry.
my ear.
That's
But
Mom's
that's
job.
that's what you
That's-
need.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
She lets me know when it's gone.
He used to get
Did you
really
want
mad,
that on
but-
there? I go, what?
I do all the time. I was like,
Let me see. Okay.
before we were coming here, I was like, I laid on her to like snuggle for a minute and like take a quick nap after work, and she's like, I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, you got eye boogies. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
Oh, that's so cute. I like eye buggies. I've never heard of that.
I'm like, you're not gonna let me take a quick nap on you because you're thinking I'm getting eye boogers all over your sweater. Like,
That's so cute.
sure.
That would be a turnoff for me too.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to turn her on. I was just trying to take a nap. I was just trying to snore in her lap for a minute, you know. But what I was gonna say, when we were down in Florida, we found an M plus K on a random handrail, and she's like, I was like, we gotta do that video again as a joke.
So he remade it.
Remade the
Really?
video, and then people were commenting on there like, "You're cooked, bro," and like the fact that she's even mad is ridiculous. I was like, "Dude, it's and then I was like responding, I'm like, she's not mad, she's just disappointed," and like playing into it.
That's great. Well, so do you really play the comedy clubs?
I do, yeah.
Can we come see you? I mean,
Sometime.
how do
Oh
we find
God!
out?
I mean, you're gonna have to sit in the back, so I'm allowed to say "fuck" and not feel weird about it.
I don't think we've stopped you yet. So.
Are you guys in this area?
Doesn't
where do
matter.
you-
We'll drive.
Canton.
We'll
Oh,
go-
okay.
Oh, right on.
We'll go where.
Yeah, so there's
my
a-
guitar player lives about 3 miles down the road. Or
Oh,
Highland.
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
nice.
right at White Lake Road in Highland here.
Oh, right. on.
Okay.
Yeah. The so I would recommend going to One Night Stands. That is like the real comedy club that
nice.
that I try to do. So
It's
yeah,
in Waterford.
yeah. But when I'm on the lineup for that one, I'll shoot you guys.
Please
a
Yeah,
message.
let us know
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Oh, we would love it.
Yeah, it's Thursday, every other Thursday at One Night Stands. They do open mic. It's an open mic, but it's really like a showcase.
Yeah.
So you have to submit to be put on the lineup, and then it goes kind of like a lottery.
Oh, wow.
So it's not guaranteed. So I'll have to, when I'm actually put on the lineup, I'll have to let you
Nice.
know. But
Nice.
yeah.
I've just started doing open mics in the last couple of years. I mean, because I played with nothing but bands up until we retired, and then I realized I had a lot more time on my hands to do stuff, and the guys didn't. So I decided 6 years ago to start doing this solo but never alone thing that I do, one man, one keyboard, and do the same thing. And I started doing open mics,
Right on.
which I wasn't real comfortable.
You trying to garner an open?
No, I'm just saying I get how that works, but I wasn't real comfortable doing the stuff by myself because I always have had a band.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if I'd be able to pull off the same professionalism with just me, because if somebody
There's no outs.
if somebody makes a mistake, there is nobody to look at and go, oh, that was the guitar player. I'm telling you, it
Right.
wasn't me.
Right.
So it's interesting just to go through those things. I haven't done a lot in the last couple of years because I've got more things going on, but I find those were very interesting just to work out material with people that have probably never seen you before.
Yeah.
And just curious to see how it works. And if it does go over well, then I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
You know, and if people don't like it because it is Christian, you know, but I don't come out and say that, hey, well, sometimes I do. Sometimes I go, hey, welcome to church, you know, but then I get into my stuff and it's not, you know, it's not religious music at all.
It's like Creed.
Yeah, it's rock with a good message, and that's
Yeah.
the whole point of what I do.
In fact, a lot of people come up and say, hey, are you talking about God?
Yeah, they will. That'll open up doors for me to have conversations with people, and that's what I really liked about Sweet Crystal playing in all the clubs that we played at, because, you know, young kids would come up afterwards and say, are you talking about Jesus? And then we can talk, and
Yeah.
if there's something they need. But it's nice to be able to open the door. It's not my job as a musician to save people. It's just my job to point them in the right direction. If they want to talk to me and use me as that inspiration, that's one thing. But really, my job is just to bring Jesus to where we play, and it's the Holy Spirit's job. It's to convict people. That's not my job. My job is to really entertain them, but to give them music that hopefully will uplift them and give them a little bit of hope. So that's how I feel that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know, and that's why I think the band is still together, you know, well, 52 years now. 2 years ago was we called it our Golden Jubilee celebration, because in the Bible, 50 years is the Golden Jubilee celebration for the Jewish people. And every 50 years they do this big thing. And all of a sudden we got to 50 and we went, well, let's just call it that, you know? And then we did that, and we had a really nice year of promotion doing that, and a lot of podcasts and a lot of places where we could talk about it, and because it is pretty unique, you know, in a band situation.
It absolutely is,
There's not a lot of people can say they're still doing, and we still like each other, you know, and that's the one thing. It's the same people. We've never, between the three of us, we've never had drama. We've never broken up. We've never had
That's
big
impressive.
fight, anything. I mean, and I feel blessed that Steve and Bill allow me to really direct where we go and what we do. And, you know, I allow them to be them, and they add their pieces to this whole, you know, musical pie. So that's how it works out. And I think it's like 46 years of marriage, as long as you put the other person's needs and wants and desires first, and they do the same thing.
Yeah.
There's no bit. What?
I just think you're so cute. I'm sorry.
I thought you just shut up over there. All right.
Me?
Gee,
Or you
no,
think
to
I'm
me,
thinking of you?
yeah.
No, whatever.
I'll shut up. Anyway, as far as pipe fitting goes,
Oh, God.
Do you do music too?
No,
Or do you just,
I don't.
You're just
No,
the
I'm
support?
Yeah, in fact, when I was teaching and he was, you know, when I was an AP and he was in the board office, we loved what we did, but I really wanted to just be with him full time and support him. So, you know, and then now we have our wish. I can't believe that we're still healthy and can
Hey, don't pound on
don't pound on the table. That we're able to do this. It just is
yeah, we feel blessed. You know, God's kept us together, and He just keeps us going until He's sick of it. And He brings
Yeah,
us
I
home.
just can't believe that we're still so in love with each other. I mean, it just blows me away. I don't know why I have to even say that. just
Yeah, we're very
since
lucky.
the first moment. We
And in our relationship, it's God. I mean, that's because people are just people, you know, and without the Holy Spirit in our relationship to smooth over anything that we might be doing that the other person doesn't like, and that's gotten us through a lot of situations. It's never been super horrible ever, but you know, you're just people.
we
So,
both remind each
yeah.
other what it's all about, and we're
Yeah.
just all here to
And
tell
when
everybody
one
about
person is up and the other person's down, then that person can pick the other person up because they've got more of the spirit. And I said, just a reminder, and it's vice versa. Like I said, if you put the other person's everything first, and they do the same thing, then you're both just working toward the same goal, and then you know, life is much easier. I mean, life is tough anyway. I mean, how we live, this world is fallen, and there's not much we can do here except to keep moving forward and keep being the inspiration for people, and to keep like your grandma said, lift her up in prayer. That does work, you know. And people may laugh at it or not believe in it, but it does work. The fact that I can even walk at all, I know, is because I quote scripture about it. By His stripes I'm healed, and so I just know my knee is going to come back, and it's just like my vocal cords did. There was no reason for that, but it's just the more trust you can put in what God's plan is for you, and the more love you'll have in your heart because of God, and then the more love you have for the person that you're with, that works, and then the more love you two have for the people outside of your life. It's interesting, but it comes in and it flows out, and I think that's what's kept us going. And it's the same with the music of Sweet Crystal. It's the three of us, the four of us with Marty. It's just we have this commonality and this belief that what we're doing is a mission. That's what we call it. It's music, a message, a mission, and a ministry. And we don't charge for playing. You know, that's not even a consideration anymore. We just go wherever we think we can make a difference. That's why I love doing benefits and festivals and things that hopefully our being there will raise some kind of support for whoever it is that's struggling or hurting. And I think that's why Sweet Crystal is still together to this day doing what we're doing, because it's not about us. You know, nobody in the band has any kind of ego anymore at all. You know, and I used to laugh about that even when we first started out, because Jan wanted to know one time, how do you not have a big ego because you're here playing, people coming to see you and they like what you're doing? And my response to her was, look where I'm at. You know, it's just a bar. You know, it's hard to have a big ego when you're just playing in a bar.
That's just what you said.
Yeah, and I said, so I've always been humble about who we are and what we do. I'm amazed when people like what we do. I'm really amazed when people actually know who we are, because that's just God, you know, because I don't think we're any big shakes. You know,
No,
but
you don't think you are.
I don't. And so it amazes, like, I
Goes,
know.
no, I don't.
I'm not. But this award I got last year in Nashville, I got the Outstanding Musician of the Year for the Josie's Award as a keyboard player. I'd never even heard of the Josie Awards, yet it's 11 years strong. And somebody got hold of me and said, you know, you've been nominated for this, and we didn't know what it was. We looked into it. We talked to some friends who had been down there, and they told us all about it, at Grand Ole Opry and all this stuff. And we just said, you know, we should just go. We've never just done spur-of-the-moment things like that. And we just went down and got tickets and sat there. And all of a
A
sudden,
couple times we almost
And you
didn't
got
want to
the
go.
award?
and my name got called.
A
And
couple
we're
times we didn't
we're
even want to
sitting
go.
there
We
going,
just thought
It was at the Grand Ole Opry?
yeah, it was at the
Yeah.
Grand Ole Opry. And we're
Imagine
sitting,
being on that stage.
I
Oh,
was,
that's
yeah.
amazing.
I didn't know all of that, the history of it. And I'm standing in this circle that everybody
That's
kept making references to, and now we know what it's all about. But
Yeah.
they read my name, and the person who gave the award was Charlize Tilton from Dallas. You guys
Yes.
are too young to remember the show Dallas. But and I just looked at her, and Jan looked at me, and I said, man, I should probably get up there. Because people were going up getting their award, and I just kind of went, I never even knew it. And I got up there and did the little thank you speech, and I said, how do these people even know who I am? Because
Yeah.
I've never played in Nashville, you know. So
Well, it's a
now-
good thing you went.
I can't believe it. I can't
Yeah.
believe it. A couple times it was almost like, well, we should.
Yeah, we were
really
gonna. How late are we
go.
gonna stay?
You know,
yeah.
That kind of stuff. But we went and just had a wonderful time. We stayed at this monster hotel that was just cooler than cool. And now this year, the Josie Awards are actually at this hotel in the ballrooms and stuff there. So we've. we're
And
gonna go-
it's like a stone's throw over to the Grand Ole
Yeah,
Opry. where
it's at the other end of
actual-
the complex. So we're just going to do it again now because we've met people and we just loved it. And it was very, very
The
cool.
people that put it on too just do it all for independent artists. No money, no gain for themselves, and it's mind-boggling. I really don't.
The
even
amount of work that
understand
they
it.
do for this kind of thing. But anyway, so that was
Yeah,
just
it's
like a little gift from God to just say, just keep doing it. You don't think anybody's listening. You don't think anybody's paying any attention to you. And we're not doing it to get that. But those little kind of attaboys, you
Yeah.
know, are just show, well, there must be a reason that we're still up here and doing this kind of thing. So that was pretty stellar. Didn't see that one coming.
It's well, there was a couple of things that you touched on that I wanted to react to or keep going, but the first when you feel like you're like, man, you start to get to this wall where you're like, man, I'm doing so much work and it just doesn't matter. And I'll go through these seasons doing this podcast mentally where I'm like, ugh, whatever. Like I'm kind of in a lull now because I have like 6 episodes that I have to edit and put out, and I'm like, I just don't care right now.
We went on vacation and then our ceiling was leaking and
Yeah,
so we fell behind a little bit.
real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
real life hit us, and I was like, I just don't have time. Like, I just don't care enough right now. And like, but then so I have to like recenter myself and go like, I used to get like friends and family views. Like, it used to be like 40 views on everything. And now we get, so the metrics go by every 90 days. So we're getting like 2 million views on everything every 90 days. So it's like 600,000 views a month
Across
Does
platforms.
my hair look okay?
across the, yeah.
It does. I was actually admiring it. It's very
I was
nice.
told nobody watches this thing.
Yeah, I wouldn't have worn this.
but like so like it feels like, man, this doesn't matter at all, you know. It's like so much work, and then I'm like, well, but it does to me, because, you know, like, this is what I joke about is like, you know, because so many guys are like, oh, you spend so much money on this, you spend so much time on this. I'm like, yeah, but I could be doing that, or like buy a stupid car or a stupid bike and just be spending all my time and money doing that. Instead, I get to meet all these artists and musicians and comedians and authors and whoever else has come on, and nice. I get to, it's an excuse to have these interesting conversations with people that I would otherwise never have.
Meet. Yeah.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on, which was early in what you were saying, was that when one person's low, the other person's high, and you kind of even each other out. I've never articulated it like that. What I have said about our relationship to my friends is that the real highs and the real lows of how my relationships used to be has like evened out to like it's pretty consistent now.
Nice.
Like, even when it's bad, it's not that bad, and when it's good, but it's not like manic crazy, like, you know, like in some of my past relationships, it was almost like when the good was good, it was like meth or something, where it was like dangerous, you know what I mean? Instead of being like healthy, it was like, oh, everything's great, and then we're gonna kill each other, you know what I mean? Like, that's how the old relationship was. So I've never articulated it like, when one's high, the other's low, and you even each other out. I've never thought of it like that, but I think that's what's going on here, where we've kind of hit this.
Can I just say one
buzz.
thing? I really think you should have said it. The lows aren't so bad, but the highs are still just as bad.
I know.
I don't know what you just said, but I think half of it was a good one, and the other half you might want to reconsider that.
Rewrite that part.
Well, so I mean that in like
Right.
the, you know, like the highs aren't like,
They're not fake.
they're not fake.
That's a good way to put it.
They're not.
That's what he
what's
meant
it?
by
What's
that.
no?
Sure.
What's the? They're not superficial highs. You know, it's not a roller coaster high. It's like
Oh, yeah.
purpose high. You know what I mean? Like, it's not cheap high. It's high like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Nice.
We're where we're supposed to be at. You know, it's not cheap fun like
Good
a roller
recovery.
coaster. Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate you throwing me the shovel.
Throw me the shovel. I've never heard that. I like it.
Keep me digging myself in the hole. You know.
That's great.
On that note, we're going to end on 1 Corinthians 7.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
See, I told you.
I'm just kidding. But we are at the 2-hour mark, so we should in fact wrap it up.
Well, this is delightful, man. We're very impressed with this whole
that
what
we're
you're doing.
even
Yeah, this is
taping.
very cool. Thanks for inviting us out.
Yeah.
It's really,
I love this. This place is a time warp. We get to have conversations where we just have no idea where they're going to go. And
Wow.
yeah,
But you mentioned a couple of things. What do you have coming up?
it won't be out.
It won't be, yeah.
It won't be out
it'll
by
be like
tomorrow.
2
the best
weeks.
thing to do is go to either sweetcrystal.com for my main, and you can go to my solo page or stay with Sweet Crystal, or if you go to the Facebook pages, I think we got 7 different Facebook
Yeah,
pages.
I'm impressed
out
that
there.
you're keeping up on all this
I,
stuff.
I try to.
Keeping
all
up with
him.
this is
Yeah, I try to, and I think that's what keeps people
That's
knowing
nice.
who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's how we got all the Detroit Music Awards we got, because we had a very big social presence. I felt those awards weren't because we were the best anything, but I think it was because people saw we were authentic. And real in our message and who we were. And I think that's why we kept winning them. And there was a lot of negatives to the DMAs that people who didn't win them were very vocal about. Now there's a new organization called the Michigan Music Awards, the MMA, and we were up for one at this last year. And
You would like those people too. You
Yeah.
should have them on.
From
They would
MMA.
really-
yeah, Michigan Music
Yeah.
Awards. Matthew Rose, and his fiance, who's also his partner.
where is that out?
It's
Out of?
Detroit.
Oh, it's out of
area, but
Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Michigan
just
Music
started
Awards.
it. Last year was the first year. This was bigger this year, and they're getting that going. But they remind me a lot of you too. I mean, they work well together, and
Oh,
this
they
is
love 'em
his
too.
thing.
They
So
love
he's
you.
kind of taken it over. DMA's just kind of disappeared.
And
They
Mark
just
was
stopped.
nominated for 1 or 2 awards this year, and he didn't win. It was kind of fun.
Oh, that was
people
great.
we were-
It was great not winning. Let me
That's
tell you,
great.
I had the
The
time of my life.
But the people that we were sitting with didn't win either, and I said, I love sitting at losers table with you guys because they're so nice.
If you've ever listened to Vehicle City Sound
Yeah.
with Chuck and
We'd love
Crystal
having them on,
Schaefer,
too.
that's another couple. They
Yeah,
had
they're
podcasts,
great.
Vehicle City Sound.
Okay.
And they do the same kind of
and
thing, and
Crystal
you'd love
Schaefer.
them.
Oh, right
But so we sat with them, and like you said, they didn't win, we didn't win, but we
But
had a
it
good
was
time.
kind of
with it.
nice to just feel like you
Vehicle
don't have
City
to win everything.
Sound.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
from
that's
hilarious.
Burton Flint. That's,
right on.
That's where they're
Okay.
out of. So
Okay.
that's what they call
In fact,
it.
we can set you up with all sorts of gigs,
Oh yeah.
who to interview.
If you need
just
guests,
No,
you
I
need
like
guests.
I got guests.
Well,
No,
you've
I'm
been
sure.
in this. You've been in this world forever, so that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
We've been in this world. Oh, I thought you meant how old.
No, I mean in the, music world. In the music
No, I'm
world.
thinking, that's pretty bold.
Don't
You've
mean it
been
like
in
that.
this world a
I'll
long
be talking
no,
to your
that's
grandma.
great.
I mean
Listen
it
here,
like
Sonny.
the music
She's an
world.
atheist, and I'm going to pray.
You've been in the music world a
Yeah.
long time,
No,
so
that
I'm
was
sure there's a lot of people that I should reach out to.
Yeah,
to
very
have.
cool.
No,
Yeah.
no, you're doing
That's
great
right.
without us.
Well, thank you for 2 hours of our lives that we'll never get back.
I'm not going to top that. All right, peace.
Purpose is not survival. It's finding purpose in what you love.
I'm pumped to be branching out and being like, hey, we're going to sit down and have a couple-hour podcast.
Is it? Is it, dude?
Jesus
You just like talked for 5 minutes. I'm like, is it though? I've always been inspired by this shit.
Dude, that pizza was so greasy.
It was disgusting.
It was not disgusting.
Disgusting.
Good Times Noodle Salad.